And we are back. Welcome to the 2025 Sage Standout Game of the Week schedule reveal show. I'm so excited to bring you this. And of course, I could not bring you guys this alone. I see people in the chat already. Yes, sir. We are back. We are back. The chat is back, and Jared Valluzzi is back. What's up, Jared?
Oh man, I'm just so excited, man. I've been literally counting down the days for this reveal show. I mean, I'm so pumped and to do it with you guys in the chat. Like it's gonna be amazing, and just they don't even know what's coming yet. That's the crazy part. It's gonna be
Yes, and of course, a huge welcome. He's right on the top with me, Mr. TYJE. What's the word, my guy? Welcome to the show officially, man.
Listen, I appreciate the opportunity, just to talk football with two other great football minds, so it's gonna be a great ride, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So I'm in the chat already. CJ, what's going on? Asking what preseason games are going to be. I guess you mean non-league games. So I am going to Eagle Academy, where they play Emotes on the 30th. But I'm sending one of my photographers to the Staten Island games. Pretty sure that's the 30th, right? I'll be back for the 31st. So I'm not sure if there are any non-league games on the 31st. I know there's a lot of games on the Saturday. I think it's South Shore Farrell, the Staten Island games.
Yeah. APR.
That's the next week, right?
Is it?
APR Chaminade's the next week, yeah. But Lincoln's got a good one too.
That's Saturday, right? Yeah. Anyone from Tottenville in the chat, let me know if you guys are doing another Thursday game. That was really convenient, at least for me to make it out to. It says Saturday, everybody comes back from camp Friday. I don't understand that. Okay, Lyle in the chat was good, my guy.
Loud.
We only need Monty, man. That's the only person we need. Monty watch. 12 in the building. Adrian Antoine, what's the word?
Runner in the spot.
We aren't talking about more Catholic. It's an unfortunate situation.
Already.
So yeah, we just talked about more Catholic. There you go. It is very unfortunate though. You never want to see that happen. But yo, we introduced ourselves to the chat, said what up to them. Just how about let's go with E, since you're new here. Just how about you just tell everyone about yourself real quick, where to find you on all the socials, and how excited you are for the season.
Yeah, my name is Eric. Everybody calls me TYJ. That's the brand, TYJVisuals. Instagram is TYJVisuals. Yeah, it's the best time of the year, everybody. Football season is here. I'm kind of excited with the new additions, and a lot of the schools have a lot of key returning players, so it's gonna be an exciting year, man. I'm as hype as everyone else, so it's right here. It's creeping up on us, and yeah, I can't wait.
Same to you, Jared. How what's your outlook on the season coming up, man?
Oh, I mean, first thing that I want to say, because I remember most people remember from the podcast last year, I was away at school. I'm back.
Jared is back. Chad is back. Jared is back.
Back in New York. I'm back in New York, and I'm gonna be going to a good amount of games, but also just I have even more focus than I already had previously on all this coverage. So I'm super excited. But yeah, Uzzi Sports you can find on Instagram and TikTok. And my Twitter, Jared Valluzzi, do a lot on Twitter as well. And yeah, man, you'll be seeing all of us outside a lot. And it's gonna be a big year for Sage Media. That's for sure.
It's a huge year. New T-shirts. Make sure you guys see that. A couple. So nobody in the chat has this yet. So this is the 2025 version of the Player of the Game shirts. 12. I know 12 has the old version. So 12, you got to come get the new version.
He said he getting that week one. He said he getting one week one, man. Oh no,
You
you're
said
not at that. Oh yeah, week one. No, you're not there. You're not at that game, Dre. But yeah, 12.
no, we'll see. You know, we're about to reveal the show. We're about to reveal the schedule real quick. But first, to start off, he said spoiler alert.
I'm talking too much, man.
Right. Yo, wow, it's his first show, man. It's his first show. Give him.
I'm chatting. I gotta chill.
It's his first show, Lyle. It's his first show. All right. So first things first, definitely want to give a special thanks to my guy Shop by LJ. LJ, I'm sure you're in the chat somewhere watching. LJ has been instrumental in creating all of the graphics that you guys see. So that's Shop by LJ. He just announced that he's going to be doing some media days. So make sure you link up with him. He's the best in the business. If you guys need any kind of media days, graphic design, LJ is definitely your guy. So all of the designs you're going to see today are by him. So huge shout out to him, huge supporter. Coda in the chat, donating $2. Really appreciate you, man. Love the content. Keep going, guys. Listen, you know, what's awesome about Sage Media, right? Like we are, of course, a network, but it's not a network where it's like, okay, Jared works for Sage Media or, you know, E works for Sage Media. You know, we can kind of come together, but still be ourselves. I think that was kind of really important for me because, you know, we want to kind of elevate all of New York City. It's not just about one brand elevating, you know what I'm saying? You know, and I co-signed this by my guy 12. And by the way, that is my picture. I took that picture of you, 12. So I'm very proud of that. You know, I don't know if you guys noticed, like, I'm sure E tells, like, I can scout, like, it's like my pictures are my children. like I
you
see my pictures
anywhere, yeah. You notice your work anywhere, yeah.
No, literally. Yes. So I wanted a few people to file in a bit. So we got about 40 people in the chat. So we're going to make our first announcement. We have 2 announcements today. The first one I am very, very, very excited for. So we are introducing the Sage Standout Student Section Scholarship.
Ooh, game changer.
Yes. So we are going to be giving out a scholarship to the best student section at the game of the week. So just to be specific, because there was a lot of people who said, oh, how come the E-Hole Tottenville game in the semifinals wasn't on your top 5 list? Reading comprehension was the game of the week. Listen, guys, we're in a new age, right? There's a whole lot of lists. Everybody has a list or something like that. So please, reading comprehension so you don't go mad in the comments. So this is for the games that are designated the Sage Standout Games of the Week. Just like last year, we will be adding games to this list from the 3A and from the 2A and the 1A maybe. So if you don't see your name on the list, don't freak out. You could be eligible for this. So let's get into the rules. So the point of this is that we really want to bring the atmosphere to high school sports. You know, you think of the crowds you see at Texas games, games in Pennsylvania. Of course, college football goes unnoticed. Like the main difference between college football and the NFL to me is the passion from the fans. So we're really hoping to bring that to the New York City scene. So we're pretty much giving this. So definitely make sure you have your questions because we're live so we can answer your questions right away. So this is not like college game day because we're not gonna, you know, come. It's not gonna be like me, Jared, and E are gonna come and do a pregame show. That would be sick. Maybe in the future. Keep donating. That is a fire idea, though. That is a fire idea. But we're not at that level yet. So the idea is it's going to be a panel. You know, of course, the 2 of these guys will be on the panel, and some other people will be on the panel as well. And we're going to judge who has the best student section, and the criteria you can see on the screen. So first, the size of the student section. display of school spirit. So what does that mean? That just means, let's say everybody is, I don't know, body painted or something like that, or everybody has shirts or anything creative that really gets, has us, that's a clear display that you're rooting for your home team, just look at any student section. I went to Penn State, so, the whiteout is like the best example. Everybody wears white. Everybody has a white tassel that they're throwing up in the air and everything like that. So that's where you guys can get creative, how you display your school spirit. I didn't put this on the sheet you have here, the cowbells. Please listen, if anyone played in the Catholic League, they know the St. Francis Prep cowbells. I don't think we want the cowbells, but you can talk to someone like Dave Agree and maybe he can tell you if that's allowed or not. I don't think they're going to allow the cowbells. But yeah, so just like I said, the loudness during the game, like we definitely want to hear you guys. And again, the display of enthusiasm with respect. If there's anything crazy going on in the crowd, you guys are done. It's as simple as that. So this isn't to, okay, we're going to attack this player because we saw him post something on Instagram. Now we're going to have a coordinated chant for what this guy posted on Instagram. No. If we hear anything like that, you're automatically disqualified. You can come cry in the chat and I'll look at you like, yeah, come on. We all heard what you guys did. So again, the idea is to just bring enthusiasm, bring an atmosphere to the game. And of course, the early arrival, if you guys have ever been to a college game before, students get there 20, 30 minutes before the games. They're there during the warm-ups and stuff like that. I know that, every venue, you're not allowed to get in right away. So, I understand that. But, I definitely want to see if I see like a lot of people there early, that's going to be huge. And also, I didn't add this, but, just like the general knowledge, like if you guys can display knowledge as a group of fans. So let's say it's like a third down. If you all start like chanting defense and stuff like that, it's not just noise for noise's sake, if that makes sense. So, Jared, what do you think when you see this, man?
Man, I'm fired up. I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of schools, but also like, man, like some of the best environments have been at like some of these like, New York City games, whether it's PSAL championships or like that Cardinal Hayes championship 2 years ago. Like I know New York City fans could really bring the juice. Now is a little bit of an incentive. I love it. What Sage is doing with that. And yeah, man, I've seen some teams even like come out with like themes already for some of these students. So it's awesome. And there's nothing better than, Friday after school going to a game. So I'm really excited.
I think it's a great idea because I feel like it's an opportunity to get the energy and just the atmosphere right. If it gets promoted the right way, like let's say if this gets posted in hallways and schools and we have a Friday night game this week, come on out. And then that'll just get the energy right and the atmosphere how it should be. Like I'll say this though, Tottenville, they're gonna take
early favorites.
Yeah, Tottenville has a band and all types of things, but it'll be cool to see some of the Brooklyn schools actually, put some effort towards this. So this is a great idea for sure.
Yeah, everyone uniting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really excited about this. I definitely think this is something the Catholic League is a little bit further ahead than the PSAL. I think of Kellenberg in the past couple of years. They've had like a big student section. They have one person leading the student section, just like college, honestly. And it kind of just creates a really fun environment. So, we're really...
And I'm probably thinking like, yo, we're going to get some shirts made. I'm going to hand out, let's say, maybe 30, 40 shirts. We're going to get a little section popping. That's how I'll be thinking if I was coaching. Like,
oh, drop a little hint there. I like that.
That's probably what I would be thinking, like.
No, absolutely.
AD, let me show this to my athletic director, like.
Yes. So, and another thing, I definitely don't want to gloss over this. So there are teams that have multiple games of the week at home in this list. So you will only be judged on the first game of the week. So just going to repeat that again. If you have multiple games of the week on this list, you are only going to be judged on the first game of the week. And of course, if we add a 3A game, if we add a 2A game, if we add a 1A game, you will be eligible for this as well. So yeah, man. So really excited for this. Really pumped to share that with you guys. And the last announcement of the day before we get into the list is we are going to be pushing our YouTube membership. So it's going to be $6.99 a month, and you're going to have access to all of the broadcasts. So we're moving more towards, so this is my goal, is to be able to be at more games. And to be able to be at more games, there has to be some kind of monetization. So any games that don't have a sponsorship, those games will be member only. If you go in the description of my YouTube channel, you can become a member. And I'm actually going to go grab that link right now to share in the chat for you guys, so you can become members if you are interested in it. So right now there are 8 games of the week, and 4 of those games have sponsors. So the other 4 games are going to be behind this member only game. So this is also for the VOD watching it back. So I definitely encourage you guys to become members. And of course, when you put monetization behind anything, there could be a bit of pushback. But again, think of it as you are supporting yourselves. You're supporting yourselves, honestly. The more places that Sage Media can be is the more coverage for Sage Media Solutions, for New York City. And Lyle beat me to that second point. I was trying to find the link. So I just posted that link in the chat. I'm going to have it pinned on my Instagram as well. So this will also be for, into the basketball season as well. So if you think about it, if you pay your $6.99, you could be getting 4 games a month, 5 games a month. So just think of if you went into a game and they charge you $1.50 to get in. So you can think about it like that. So yes, the second point that my guy Lyle put into the chat. Yes, another perk for this is that you're going to get special emotes. So I'm not going to ask you guys to do any sound effects, but let's go with E. What's the sound when someone scores a long touchdown? Let's say they throw a long touchdown to 12. What sound?
Or you can hit him with the da-na-na, da-na-na. That's a top play. Oh, yeah.
So if you guys look in the chat right now, that's our emote right there. So for YouTube, just look in the YouTube chat. So it's gonna give kind of Twitch vibes. That's kind of what we're going for. Oh, yeah. So those are one of the emotes, and of course, gotta have the emote for the Castle Boys, the defending champions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So right now I can only make 6, but as we get more members, I get access to more emojis. So definitely become a member for more emojis, and of course we can't forget about the Dutchman. Of course, you gotta have the Dutchman on there. Gotta have the Dutchman on there, of course. And also what I'm hoping for this as well is, of course, you guys know, if you guys are fans of Sage Media, that when we do playoff games, when we do championship games, we can't have the chat open, but I can make the chat emote only. And I'm sure, the powers that may be would be fine with that, having it be emote only.
Somebody said, don't forget the eagle. Look.
Don't forget the eagle.
Look, somebody threw an eagle up
No,
there.
we didn't forget the eagle. Don't worry. We didn't forget the eagle. We did not forget the eagle. We didn't forget the eagle. Don't worry. But But like I said, so these are the preliminary ones. These are kind of previews. So while before, as we get more members, we will, let's say it's Lincoln versus
there we go.
the Sharks. Let's say it's Lincoln versus the Sharks. Let's just say that, right? Versus FJM. I'll make sure that the emojis are Lincoln and Sheepshead Bay. You know what I'm saying? So one more, because I know there's a couple of Vikings in the chat. So it's not just images. Of course, we can do words. The Vikings are all about lining up.
No.
So yes, so become a member. And also another announcement for this is with this new membership for games, there won't be advertisements during the games, like those YouTube ads. So there's going to be no more YouTube ads. So everyone's going to be able to enjoy ad-free viewing. Oh, I can't message you. So E, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Access, certain features that the pub doesn't have access to. Like you said, if you're a fan of basketball, which basketball in our city is amazing as well, you get access to some basketball content as well. I feel like it's a win-win. You support the brand, you support Sage Media and all that, we're doing for the city. So it's like, yeah, man, you can't go wrong. $6? What's $6? What's $7? What's $7? Come on now, you can't go wrong.
That's a trip to Wendy's, man. That's a trip to Wendy's.
Come on.
To be honest with you, what can $6 even get you at Wendy's nowadays? I don't even know. A biggie bag, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a biggie bag.
Probably, I don't know.
Jared, your thoughts?
I mean, man, it's great. Kind of like you would say, $6.99 a month, definitely, doable. But you're supporting yourself, kind of like what you mentioned, Dre. Like, if a lot of people decide to do this, which I think they will, because more coverage will end up coming, which is great. We've obviously all proven, what we bring to the city. So the fact that you guys can help us elevate it and help you guys get more exposure, nothing's better than that.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, don't want to gloss over this. The sponsor streams will be free to view. It'll be very obvious what a sponsor stream is. So yes, the sponsor streams are going to be free to view. But again, if you're a member, you're going to have access to those emojis. So definitely make sure you guys become members. The link is in the chat. Oh, move the chains in the building. My guy Mac, man. Even though Mac don't want to pick up the phone, it's all good though. It's all good, Mac. People don't gotta know that you don't like to pick up the phone. It's cool. All right, Jared E. Just might want to check your internet connection, but Jared E. Are we ready? We have 52 people in the chat. The announcements are done. You guys can go backwards if you want to look at the announcements. I think we're ready for the first game. What y'all think? What you think? You think we're ready for the first game?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into it. Again, this night is going to be full of announcements. It's going to be full of surprises. So let's get into it. The first Sage Standout game of the week for 2025. And let's be honest, it's only right to start where we ended with the champions, man. Curtis versus Lincoln at the Castle, sponsored by Curtis High School.
Spicy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm hyped for this one.
So when I look at this matchup, the first thing, of course, are the 8-time champions, the most championships in the PSAL. Yo, Mac is out here cursing in the chat. Come on, Mac. What you doing, Mac? Mac went to the other side. You don't know how to act no more. Is that crazy, Jared?
They said no more.
was gonna say, man, he's getting used to it over
no
there
more
already.
academics. He might, Dave, he might be more unhinged now, man. He not in front of the camera. He might be more unhinged.
Man.
But yeah, let's just get back to it. Curtis versus Lincoln. The first thing you think of course, is Curtis defending the defending champions. You see who's on the cover in his what's that, a Gucci wallet, a Gucci a Gucci wristband right there. Jarrett Surratt.
Yeah.
He was my player of the year last year. He's coming back. He's absolutely should be on the top of everyone's list when it comes to players in the PSAL. He was pretty much unblockable this season. But Lincoln has a lot to prove. You see on the screen here, Ron Jones, number 57. In my opinion, Ron might be, one of the best linebackers in this entire league. And of course, they got a new quarterback who has a lot to prove. Jared, how about you talk about this game just in general, man?
Yeah, man, I'm pumped. Two perennial powerhouses going at it early under the lights. I'm expecting a packed crowd. It should be really exciting. And also, one thing that sticks out to me in this one is, you got some of the best defensive players. Not only in the city, but I'm gonna go as far as New York State. You look at the two guys on the graphic for Curtis. Anthony Gambardella is a beast. He's fantastic, and Jarrett Surratt, easily one of the best players in New York, one of the most impactful players that I've seen on a high school football field in the last 5 years. And then Lincoln is phenomenal, right? Because Ron Jones is a beast, like you mentioned. He's an exceptional player, but also Lincoln has two of the best DBs in the PSAL. Have fun going against LeBron Hicks and Jaden Brooks. Those, absolutely excellent. So a lot of great players on that side of the ball, but then of course there's a ton of talent on offense as well. I think both teams are gonna, really come out with a bang this year. There's just so much talent on both sides.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is just always, a matchup I'm looking forward to seeing. But the thing that stands out to me about this matchup is, from what I've seen so far, Lincoln up front, their offensive line, I feel like it's very solid. So I want to see how they match up against, Surratt and the rest of that Curtis D line. And I actually feel like Borey is ready. He's ready for that spotlight. Christian Borey, I think he's a dual threat quarterback. And I also feel like Lincoln has some playmakers who they're ready to step into their roles, in terms of their receivers. They got a kid named Alvarez who I've been seeing him all 7-on-7 in the spring. And I feel like he's ready to step up and be a very solid receiver this year. But do they have enough to stop, Gomez and that Curtis offense? I think it's going to be a breakout year for Quadir. So it's going to be a good game, though. It's going to be a good game. I can't wait for it. So
listen, we hopefully you guys were able to tune in to the coaches' interviews where we got to interview Coach Gambo. So we got to hear his side, him preview his Curtis Warriors, but we have somebody, our first guest, who should know a whole lot about Lincoln, I would say. So introducing head coach of the Rail Splitters, Coach O'Connor. What's going on, man?
Coach O.
Can you hear us, first of all?
What's up? How you doing, gentlemen? Thank you for having me on. What a privilege. I've been watching the show all this year. Got the call the first week. I'm ready. I'm waiting all off season for this one.
Coach, is that a vacation tan or that's a working tan?
That's a working tan right now.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Those 3 to 6 workouts, they're pretty rough right now, but we're working on it. It's working. Yeah. It's a working tan.
Listen, Coach. So the first thing I have to ask, you guys were a team. I think by the standards that you've set as a head coach, probably fell a little short last year. Had that early exit in the quarterfinals to South Shore. But even as I look back at this, at some of your scores, even in the Curtis game that you guys had, 13-6 against Curtis, if I'm not mistaken, as far as the regular season goes, you guys were right there just with E-Hall. I think E-Hall only lost by 1 score as well. So, of course, like I said, for your standards, you guys always want to be on top. So where do you think you can improve moving forward this year?
Well, last year there were a lot of games that, like you said, we were in them, but major penalties and turnovers. We were a team that kind of got our own way last year a lot of times. And when you play teams like Curtis and Tottenville and Erasmus, and especially in the playoffs, South Shore, you can't afford turnovers, mistakes, mental breakdowns. We kind of hurt ourselves a lot in those games. I'm really proud of those kids, though. It was a lot to go through, being what the offseason that we had with the passing of our teammate. But they never gave up. They played hard, but they were a lot of games that we were extremely penalized in, and we turned it over a lot.
No, I hear you, Coach. And how much confidence do you have in like the new offense? Of course, you have Mr. Borhe, who's going to, we would imagine he would be the one to get the keys. He was the one who, had some experience last year. Of course, he has to earn that position at camp. But how do you see him developing so far?
Well, you know what? Last year he was a sophomore, and he broke his foot his freshman year in the scrimmage against Cardinal Hayes, so didn't have much of a freshman season. So we were a little nervous about putting him on the varsity as a sophomore without no game experience. So we kind of progressed him as the year went on. He got a lot of game experience, even from game one. We played out against in New Jersey, some tough competition. He played in every single game. He had a few touchdowns. He got really good experience. Even in the last game, the playoff game against South Shore, he helped move the ball, dove in the end zone, got a touchdown, broke his hand on that play. We couldn't get him back in the game. He wanted to go back in, but we wouldn't put him back in there. We're expecting some great things. He's really been working extremely hard, not only on the field, but off the field as a leader as well. Being a junior, coming on varsity is not easy, but I think he's earned the respect of the team with the sacrifice that he made last year, not having ever played on junior varsity a game, but getting his game experience on varsity.
Yeah, and of course, last question for me before I throw it to everyone. Ron Jones, like I really view him as one of the top players in the whole league. At his position, if he's not number one, he's number two. Like that's how highly I rate Ron Jones, just like his tenacity, his nose for the ball. So he's going to be really stepping into a leadership role, especially with Kyan Filbert moving on. So what are your expectations for Ron?
Ron's been tremendous offseason. He's been that guy to keep that focus, that discipline. The little things that we were lacking in the weight room and practice field, which showed during game day, where he would keep the focus of the team. He's the guy. He's the true leader of the team, without a doubt. And he had a tremendous junior year. He's a really good student as well. There's a lot of colleges academically looking at him as well. He really hit the weight room hard. But like I said, you watch his film. He knows how to finish tackles, and he's kind of like the coach out there on the defense. He puts everybody in place. He makes the calls, the checks. So we're really expecting some big things from him on the defensive side.
Jared, I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, Coach, first off, thank you for coming on tonight. And also your schedule immediately kind of jumps out to me, right? You guys start off with Archbishop Stepinac, a great Catholic school. And then what we just mentioned, you guys are going to Curtis, traveling to the defending champs. So, how excited are you to have, your guys play against two talented teams?
And we also got Coatesville the week after more from Pennsylvania. So that's another.
Yeah.
They're coming to Lincoln.
Wow.
So
Okay.
Playing with Stepinac and Coatesville from Pennsylvania on a Friday night at Lincoln. So we feel those two are very good, powerful teams that are going to help us get ready for Curtis. You want to play in non-league games. You want to find out early. What your team needs to work on, and helps you keep your team motivated and focused in the off season as well. So those two games that we believe will help us get a good feel for Curtis.
Yeah, without a doubt. And also, it seems like each year I'm always pretty impressed with some of the big guys you got up front. Who are some of the linemen that people should watch this year? But overall, as a unit, how do you feel about the guys in the trenches? Got to get
absolutely. Right? Well, we have two return offensive linemen, Daniel Zephyr and Omar Joseph, that played who started on the offensive line last year. Daniel plays defensive nose guard for us as well. And we had another offensive lineman, Trey Frank, who's coming back. He's a really big boy, lean, and he's really worked hard in the offseason to put on the strength. We picked up another lineman who transfers, Krishawn Pilgrim from Canarsie, and he's really been with those 4 guys and a couple of the guys that we see. We feel like we have a good nucleus of kids, on both sides of the football. Brian Marcelli, a defensive tackle. The offensive and defensive line, they of course, everybody knows, without them, you don't really have much.
Yeah.
But Lincoln, we've always had traditionally good guys in the trenches, and we think these guys are going to keep it up.
Christian's brother, right? Christian?
Yes, yep.
That's awesome. For those who remember, he was also a beast. So looking forward to seeing the next Pilgrim. I'm excited. I'll pass it over to you.
How you doing, Coach OC? I don't really have a question. I just can't wait to see you guys this year. I'm a big fan of Borey. I feel like he's gonna step in and lead your offense. I just can't wait to see the rails for this year, Coach. Yep. See you soon.
We appreciate it. I know always goes count on you being there on the side. He always pops up in the middle of my warm-up with the camera right in the face. I got to make sure I shave when he's around because he gets some close-ups.
Listen, Coach, we really appreciate you. You sat down with us last year. This year, you got to kind of chill and watch the other coaches' interviews. So, we're going to see you nice and early in the off season. Really appreciate you coming on, Coach.
And thank you so much. Really appreciate you 3 guys, and along with Lincoln Jacobs, you guys are really helping out the PSAL kids, especially New York City kids. It's really exciting week to week to see what you guys do for our kids in the city. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Coach. That's the goal. Appreciate that.
Coach, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right. So that's our first game of the week. Lincoln versus Curtis. So Curtis, this is your game to, win that Sage Standout Student Section Scholarship. You might have another game on this list. You might have another game. I guess we'll see. So, guys, you guys ready for week 2?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Week 2 of the Sage Standout Game of the Week is 2 teams that I predict are going to be contenders for a playoff spot. Eagle Academy versus the 3A champions, new kids on the block, Brooklyn Tech.
Wow.
Man, I am really, really excited for this game. I had the pleasure of interviewing Coach Pugh, head coach of Brooklyn Tech, and he is not coming into this league intimidated. We spoke off camera. He knows that this game against Eagle is a big spot. Eagle is a team who was in the playoffs last year as that number 7 seed. And Brooklyn Tech, that's where they want to be. Brooklyn Tech wants to be in the playoffs, and this is going to be a huge spot for them going to Eagle Academy. By the way, this game will be sponsored by Eagle Academy. I have to make sure I say that. Eagle Academy, as you can see on the screen here, Travis Harris, he was nominated for our all-city list. If I'm not mistaken, he was on the second team. Forgive me if I'm mistaken for that, but I'm pretty sure he was on the second team. And then you have rising junior Beatty Joyce, who I think is on a breakout watch to be one of the breakout players in this league. But of course, Travis Harris definitely doesn't need any introduction. And on the other side, of course, Tristan Suarez with that 4 touchdown performance in the championship game. I mean, Jared, how about you just talk about this game in general, man?
Yeah, I'm beyond fired up, right? I mean, these are 2 teams that, both have really high expectations for themselves. I mean, this Brooklyn Tech program, we'll start off with them. They're rising so fast. The fact that they won a 3A championship last year was incredible. And I mean, I made a video on them earlier in the offseason. Like, people don't realize, listen, they're moving up after their championship, and they bring back some studs. Like you're mentioning, like Ezra Josie is a phenomenal athlete, joined by Tristan Suarez, James White, just a lot of really good players. And then, of course, the Eagle Academy, they're going to build on what they already started last year. And they have some exceptional talent. I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of these Eagle Academy skill players going at it. And Brooklyn Tech also has some great skills as well. I mean, I know, E, you've seen some of these guys in the offseason. I think the overall talent on this field is going to be really exciting for two programs that are just quickly rising the ranks in New York City.
E, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Brooklyn Tech is actually one of the schools I can't wait to see this year. They're always a very disciplined program. They play hard football. They don't make a lot of mistakes. And, like Jared said, this Ezra kid really stood out to me. I feel like 7-on-7 is very, important for the receivers and the skill guys. But this guy was running. He was winning a lot of his routes open, making good catches, and yeah, I really think that he can be a slot receiver that puts himself on a map in the 4A for sure. And in terms of Eagle, that's another school I can't wait to see this year. For obvious reasons. The additions that they have coming in, and I feel like they have potential to have some of the top playmakers in the city. So that's going to be real interesting to see Eagle this year as well. So, yeah, this is a game that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing for sure. I want to see if Brooklyn Tech is going to, live up to the 4A hype, and I want to see how Eagle is looking with their new additions. So,
no, absolutely. And, 4 wins is going to get you into the 4A playoffs. So where are you going to get these 4 wins from? We spoke earlier in this year about, I personally think that, Curtis, Tottenville, Lincoln, and Erasmus are definitely, some teams that you can almost, say that they should be good for the playoffs if things go as chalk, just from their history, the talent that we're used to having them. But that's only 4 spots, There's a big clump of teams all competing for that 5, 6, 7, 8 spot. And I think 4 wins is the cutoff. And, let me tell y'all something. The unfortunate 3 have been set free this year. And that's New Dorp, Port Richmond, and Wagner. They have let's say a level schedule compared to everybody else this year. So those might have been 3 teams that, maybe a lot of you kind of threw away last year, but, with a more favorable schedule, let's see, there's a lot of teams only competing for 4 spots. So this game is just so important for both Eagle and Brooklyn Tech.
The barista got Brooklyn Tech at 5. Somebody comment with that.
Please. Respect, but let's
the barista.
Respect though for all the pages. All right, guys. So anything else left to say on this game, or?
Nah, yeah.
All right. Listen.
Nah, looking forward to it.
This next one, man. I'm excited for this next one. I think all of New York City is excited for this next one. I think all of Staten Island is excited for this next one. I think all of Brooklyn is excited for this next one. We got Tottenville up against E Hall. See, I was going to say like round 2 because we had this game in the regular season, but is it even fair to say round 2 when it comes to these 2 teams? Like,
you just know it's always going to be a good one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, the last time these 2 teams played each other, the score was 46 to 40.
I couldn't believe that.
46 to 40.
Unreal.
And one of the most unbelievable displays of offense from 4 players who are all coming back this year. On the left, we have Junior Corey Brown, or I guess I should say class of 2027 to be more specific. So class of 2027, Corey Brown, and class of 2026, the Stony Brook commit Tyshawn Bent. Combined, I'm pretty sure they had, I think it was about 5 touchdowns. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know Ty had 3, and I'm pretty confident Corey had another 2. And then on the other side, we had Amir Morrow, the Temple commit, and Justice Murray. He was on the second team all media city list. I mean, I'm going to throw this one to E first. I have a lot to say about this matchup, but E, man, Tottenville E-Hole again, man.
Wow. You know, like this matchup is always must-see TV, you know, no matter when even if it's regular season or playoff game, it's must-see TV all the time. And, you know, Danny keeps preaching, get back, get back, get back. So I can't wait to see how E-Hole comes out in this matchup. And then another, you know, I feel like Tottenville was kind of overdue. And what I mean by that is I feel like they need to get over the hump in terms of winning a big one. And, you know, that this is going to be Tyshawn Bent's senior year. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder the whole year. But guys, listen, this is going to be our last year, I should say, seeing both Tyshawn Bent and Amir Murray, you know, so that's very big right there. I remember when both of those guys were just freshmen, you know, so it's like, wow, senior year now, wow, it's crazy. 4 years by just like that. But yeah, I really can't wait to see this matchup, man. I really can't wait to see it at all. Like it's fire. It's going to be a movie for sure.
Jared?
Yeah, man, it's unbelievable. Like Tottenville E-Hall, like last 2 years having, you know, championship, semifinals, instant classics. It's been incredible. And, you know, some of the main guys have been such key factors in, you know, those matchups the last 2 years. It's kind of a crazy like rivalry thing going on when you look at, you know, like what Amir Morrow has done. You know, he's going to Temple, one of the best running backs in the state. Then Tyshawn and Corey are also 2 of the best in the state. They, you know, Tyshawn's going to Stony Brook. Corey's a Division I prospect. It's just really special. And, you know, both teams are amazing. And this one's going to be interesting. And kind of like what E said, of course, Tottenville had amazing seniors last year. I don't want to take anything away from that. This feels like the year, though, that, you know, they've kind of marked where it's like, all right, it's Tyshawn's senior year, it's Corey's junior year. No, I don't know how many duos people have seen like this before. So they've really circled this one. And E-Hall, after what happened with Curtis, they want to run through everybody. They got revenge on their minds. They're meeting week 3. It's going to be special.
Yeah, so we're going to stay on this game for a bit because I think that we have some of the best units in this game, in my opinion. So first of all, I think that E-Hall linebacking crew has the chance to be one of the best in the whole league. Last year, they were young, and it's good to be young because now it's your time now. So, you know, you have Kendall Brown, Zaire Walden, Nasir Brown, and those are just the 3 I can name off the top of my head. And those players, I really predict to have huge years. You know, last year, you know, again, they were young, but here's the crazy thing about E-Hall, like just talking about them in general, right? Yes, E-Hall did not win the championship, right? But they were literally, like we say, oh, Curtis beat them twice. Curtis beat them by a combined 12 points. No, it's not even 12 points. It wasn't even 12 points. It was like a combined 9 points.
The regular season game, I think, was a 3-point game.
It was a 3-point game.
Luckman, yeah, that was a 3-point game. And then the chip was a 1-point game, yeah.
Well, yeah, well, they scored I guess they scored the 6 or whatever it was. But
Yeah.
But regardless, no, oh my God, you're right. It was 2. You're so right. Yeah, so it was 5 points. 5 points separated us from being on the timeline of E-Hall with 6 championships.
5-point difference.
Just think about that. So think about that. So everyone they're bringing back, of course, there's a lot of pain, falling short in that championship game, but also just a lot of experience. So I really think that this linebacking core can be one of the best, and definitely their secondary has a chance to be one of the best as well. Bringing over David, Jacob, Jasir Harris coming back. So, just what do you think about this E-Hall defense and the potential they have?
I mean, you can always expect the E-Hall defense to be dominant with Coach Ross. It's just the scheme, he just puts his guys in position to be great. Like you said, the linebacking core, I feel like Mr. Brown is going to have number 5. His name is Nazir. I don't want to say his name. Is it Nazir Brown?
Yeah, Nazir Brown. Yep.
Nazir Brown. He always stood out to me. I feel like he's going to have a breakout year for that linebacking core. And like you said, experience matters, So when you have guys who they played in the big game, they played in big playoff games, it's like win or lose, you've been in positions and you've been in certain situations where you can't teach that, So that plays a major role. And the thing with this matchup, though, Tottenville, I feel like they have experience as well in terms of returners, So it's like, this matchup in general is just going to be, like we said already, must-see TV. And in terms of the DBs, I'm very excited to see David Jacob. I feel like it's a good fit for him over there. E-Hall is basically DBU. He's in the hands of some real good coaches who are going to put him in position to be great as well. So I feel like his game will flourish more at E-Hall. No knocks to South Shore because he was doing his thing at South Shore. But E-Hall has a track record with DBs, so it's gonna be fire for sure.
So Jared, there's actually a message in the chat talking about the wide receiver core, and I know E-Hall has some of your favorite wide receivers, and Justice Murray playing wide receiver this year. I mean, just talk about this, man. I know you got a chance to see him at some camps.
It's gonna be scary, man. I got to see Victor and Justice in person this summer. They're both phenomenal wideouts. Victor has excellent college prospect like size and stuff like that, and he's had a good offseason, man. I was impressed with him. But Justice Murray, people forget how athletic he actually is. He is like you're gonna really see it. If not, go watch his highlights against
I'll come out and say this: Justice Murray is definitely a top 3 athlete in the SAL.
It's
probably
incredible.
Number 1. I'm just trying to be,
Yeah, like they're gonna use them. They're gonna use them all over the place. That duo, I think, is really impressive. And then over at Tottenville, the more I think about it, everyone's gonna be super focused on stopping Corey and Tyshawn. They're gonna do everything that they can. Listen, Justin McGuire, he isn't asked to pass the ball a ton, but he can. We have all seen it, and he is as much of a veteran of a quarterback as anyone in this league. With this is gonna be his 4th year starting QB for Tottenville. So I mean, he's awesome, and you could bet T-Ville's going to want to get Nick Cosentino involved.
Cosentino.
That was the point I was going to make after you were done. Going back to the Tottenville side. I said this. Yes, don't forget about Jace. Yes, Jace. He had a lot of experience last year too. So shout out to Mac for that.
Yeah.
Chase for me.
No, he's number 8.
Yeah, in the slot.
So this is something I said on the podcast with Coach Neville. I truly think that Justin McGuire is criminally underrated. I think he is a top 3 quarterback in this entire league. And it doesn't take you don't have to look at his film much in my opinion, to convince me. I just think about the E-Hall game, some of the throws he made to Nick, he's making these throws under duress. And, these in the first half of that game, Nick Cosentino and Justin McGuire had their way. Nick finished the game with 5 catches and 100 yards. And I'm not sure how many incompletions Justin had. I know that the PSAL is reporting one thing, but I'm not sure how many incompletions he had when I rewatched the game. It really wasn't many incompletions. So I really, really think that he's criminally underrated. Just going to give a quick shout out to Kasim Cromwell, first team all-city athlete on our list. Nice to see you, my guy.
Stud.
Stay tuned. Maybe Port Richmond will show up.
Yeah,
and yeah, you know, I think Justin McGuire, just like, you know, Jared was saying, is criminally underrated.
he's also a 4-year starter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
things like that matter.
tremendous. He's
And
an
another
X-factor.
thing I want to add to this game as well is, you know, not only so, of course, when you think of Tottenville in their class of 2027, the first person you think, of course, is Corey Brown. But there was another player who was a freshman who was playing in that E-Hall game, and he was playing on the other side of the ball. His name is Nick Acosta. He got injured in the very first non-league game. You know, Coach Neville referred to him as like the swagger of the defense. So like the swagger of their defense was kind of taken out. They didn't have that last year. And from what I'm hearing, Nick Acosta is feeling pretty good. You know, he looks like he's going to be good to go. So I'm really excited to see that. I really liked him as a freshman. Of course, he missed his sophomore year. So hopefully Nick is back and ready to go. And just real quick, just in general, we're not going to talk about like transfers too much. Transfers are always like kind of like a sensitive topic. Like we'll talk about them kind of like in general. But of course, I understand it's a sensitive topic for like some coaches and programs and stuff like that. So, you know, you guys can mention it in the chat, but you know, if we don't bring it up on the stream, it's not because we're ignoring you. It's because, you know, we're just kind of trying to stay away from that topic, just to be transparent about that. Guys, anything else on this game?
No, covered a bunch of it. God, when the podcast episode comes up and we're previewing it for real.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Was that holding my tongue a lot? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, no, same. But we'll save it for then. We can move on.
All right. So let's get ready for game number 4.
GG Media.
Shout out GG. Shout out to my guy GG. Shout out
GG. He's the man. Yeah. GG in the chat.
All right. So game number 4. You know, kind of hoping that our next guest is going to get queued up here soon. We're a little early, which is surprising that we're running early, especially with all the announcements. We actually are running a little early. So let's get into the next game number 4 on the Sage Standout Game of the Week list. We're going up to the Bronx. JFK versus Fort Hamilton, the runners-up in the PSAL 3A. Now, if I queue it up for you guys, you know, we definitely have to look at this game from the JFK lens first. JFK has a tough schedule. Yeah. This is a big year for JFK. You know, I'll ask E just real quick. When was the last time JFK was not in the top division? Because I don't know when I can't tell you.
As long as I can remember, bro. Even when my brother was in high school, they were in the top division. I think JFK has always been in the 4A. Yeah. Maybe someone in the comments can confirm that. But, yeah, I think JFK has always been in the 4A. Running the same offense. Running the same offense forever. They always been in the 4A, though. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, JFK has, you know, always been a top team. And, you know, of course, the schedules fluctuate from year to year, but this year they have a big schedule. You know, you think of JFK, and traditionally, you know, of course, South Shore had a big year last year, but traditionally JFK is that 5 or 6 team in the PSAL. Of course, it's a team that has, you know, won PSL championships in the past, but it's a big year for them. You know, they have one of the brightest quarterbacks in the league in Jeremiah Sanat. You know, he was a freshman last year, and I'm going to hand it off to Jared in a second, but, you know, he had, especially in the offense that, you know, is very run focused, he really brought another dynamic to their offense. And I really liked as a freshman, as a 14-year-old kid, some of the pocket presence he really showed, I thought was great. And it's kind of, to me, it's kind of one of those years where it's like, okay, how good are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you a Division I prospect? Are you a Division II prospect, Division III prospect? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the times where you can really show this. If I just take a peek at JFK's schedule, I know for a fact they open up with Erasmus. We're talking Erasmus, Lincoln, Eagle, Brooklyn, and then here at Fort Hamilton. So by the time they get to this game, we're really going to know who JFK is. So I'm going to send it to Jared first, because I know that you evaluated Jeremiah Sinat. So how about you talk about him and how big of a year it is for him?
Yeah, so I actually recently wrote about both Jeremiah Sinat and Derek Betances recently on my latest for High School and Sports Illustrated. And, watching both of them again, I mean, such fantastic campaigns last season against 4A competition. I mean, both of these guys were huge parts for them making the playoffs and getting off to that, amazing start. And for Sinat to do that as a freshman was impressive, because so many players make that big jump their sophomore year. So it's going to be exciting to see what he's got as a sophomore. And Derek, I really think, is one of the most explosive players out there in the city. And it's a little bit tougher because we're just in a spot right now where, Tyshawn, Corey, and Amir are three of the best players in New York, period. So Derek gets a little bit overshadowed, but he's incredible. So that's a great duo. And I think we're going to talk about the linemen as well in front of them in a little bit. They also got some guys up front too, and they know how to develop linemen. So very, very excited for JFK, this season.
Your thoughts on, just from the perspective of JFK first, E?
I feel like in terms of JFK, like you guys mentioned, I feel like Jeremiah Sinat gave them kind of like a breath of fresh air. You see a guy coming as a freshman and he's promising. You see a future, especially in terms of a quarterback. So I feel like that's what Sinat gave, Kennedy and the coaching staff. They see a future with him leading the offense, and I agree with that. I like him a lot. I feel like his game is definitely promising. And I feel like Betances, he's definitely one of the top backs in the city. But like Jared just said, his production, it gets, I guess, underlooked, I would say, because of the backs that we have in our city, But Betances could definitely ball, and I'm looking forward to his senior campaign. But I know that they lost a few key pieces on the O-line that were seniors. So that's usually their strength with the type of offense they run, the linemen up front. So I'm looking forward to see what Coach O and the rest of the staff is doing with the linemen up front. So,
yeah, and another shout out I'm just looking for their roster because I want to get his full name. All right, let's see. Where is my guy? Here he goes. Manny Hernandez. This is easily one of my favorite players in the whole league. Manny does nothing but run hard. So you have, what I'm saying? Manny does nothing but run hard. So you have, Manny, taking, I think usually they have him on the opposite side of Mr. Betances running that sweep, but I know he's pretty versatile. So, we're looking for big things from Manny.
Also, Dave.
Yeah. I was thinking, what is he referencing?
If you're referencing Jarrett Sarit, like that can't be true. Like we talk about him all the time, unless if you're talking about maybe you made a mistake and I don't mention Quadir Gomez enough. That I can maybe accept. I definitely think I should talk about Quadir a little bit more. He's a stud. But number 3 from Curtis, we just did a whole thing on Jarrett Sarit.
Yeah, I know we're a little late, so maybe we're taking him out of context a bit.
We know that boy different. Yeah, number 3. We already know that. Everybody.
Yeah, no, but Mr. Betances is definitely one of the top players in this league for sure. And we have a guest who knows a lot about him. But before we bring on our guest, we definitely have to talk about this game from the Fort Hamilton perspective. It's a big year for Fort Hamilton, of course, coming up into that 4A, falling short. Okay, hold on. So read this real quick. Hold on. Let's stay here for a second. Dave is throwing off the whole show. The 3 best players.
The 3 best running backs.
Yeah, running backs. Yes, he definitely said running backs. He definitely.
I also don't, really mix player rankings.
Yes. All right. So to getting back to it, so the Fort Hamilton perspective, I think Aiden Porter is definitely on breakout player watch. It's a big stage to step into, especially when you have to fill in for Aiden Farley.
Yeah.
Aiden Farley threw for, if I'm not mistaken, 25, probably 3,000 yards. I don't have it in front of me. I think he threw for about 3,000 yards. Division I, down there in Houston. And congratulations to Aiden Farley. But Aiden Porter, just like Coach Perez was saying in the interview, what he brings is, he is an athlete. Dual sport athlete, football and baseball, extremely, extremely athletic. Walking into the Bronx is definitely not going to be an easy venue. And if I'm not mistaken, it's their homecoming this game. So it's definitely not going to be an easy venue. Them people from the Bronx, they're not very friendly. And that's all I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? So, it's going to be a big stage for him. But again, this is where, we see who you are going to be. People always say, I want to go Division I, I want to go to Division II. These are the nights where you can really show that by going to the Bronx and putting on a performance at the game of the week. So we are about to bring on our guest, but just I want to throw it to either how about Jared? Real quick, your thoughts on Fort Hamilton before we move on.
Yeah, I'm pumped, man. I mean, I know they didn't win the 3A last year, but they're still moving up divisions, and they had some incredible seniors, like you mentioned, with Eden Farley, and I know Harold Marshall isn't with them anymore. He was a terrific. I think he was a sophomore last year, but I give Fort Ham credit. They lose those players, they move up. I think it goes to show you the culture that they also built last season. They really think they're ready to take on the next step because of what they've built foundationally. And it's it's definitely really impressive. They're looking to return to, some success that, they've had in the past, and they're definitely on the way.
And real quick, I think obviously, if you think of the biggest departures in the PSAL, of course, you think of Nick Cyrus, of course, from South Shore, but Harold Marshall III is definitely one of the biggest departures in the entire PSAL for sure.
You would have been 1,000-yard rusher.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But, we stalled enough. We have a representative from the Bronx. Sometimes I get accused of not showing the Bronx love. I don't know how that could be. But we have one of my favorite coaches in the league, one of my favorite Instagram accounts, always has me cracking up. That's my guy, Coach O.
What's up, y'all?
What's going on, Coach?
Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. What's going on, man?
What's up, Coach?
Man? Fresh from practice, so that's why I'm still in the car. But how you guys doing?
Chilling, man. How you doing, man? Good to see you, Coach O.
What up, yo? Congratulations on being on the show, man. It's a good look for you.
That's love.
Jared, what up? Thank you for the articles and all that and mentioning our kids. Appreciate you. Andre, you got to come to the Bronx and do some interviews, dog. It's like you're ducking this side of New York City, and I feel you. I understand how you move in, but nothing's going to happen to you in the Bronx. You good on this side, bro.
Listen, Coach, I had to go to Staten Island this year. I had to take my Staten Island tour.
So you telling me that you're coming to the Bronx next year?
Coach, I like to wrap things up in a bow, so I don't like to give everything away, but just keep your phone on. That's all I'm going to say.
You moving like Eric Adams, but I'll
Listen, Coach, first question for you is, your offensive line is always known as being one of the most tenacious in all of the league. So how do you really instill that into them?
Well, the biggest thing is first and foremost, the foundation of any football team is both lines, offensive and defensively. But offensively, for our style of football, they have to be nasty. They have to be aggressive. They really have to like to be offensive linemen. Like they have to, for lack of a better term, they gotta really like to instill violence into people or just in themselves. So we really make it a point to have our linemen just be a focal point of not only just our practices but our program. It's a storied history. Legendary offensive line coach, Coach Mo, and that tradition comes from there. And we just really emphasize it because without the O line, we're nothing. Like that's part of the reason where it's like, yeah, it all looks good when people have shorts on, but when the pass come on and you're getting down blocked and trapped, what kind of team are you really?
No, absolutely. And Coach, one thing I really love about you and what you display on your social media and what everyone displays from this JFK camp is you guys aren't ducking any smoke. You guys aren't looking at your schedule saying, oh, woe is me, we got the tough treatment versus XYZ team. You guys look like you're ready for the challenge. You have, a potential player of the year in Mr. Patansis. So just talk about like when you look at that schedule and then when you go back to the locker room and how you prepare these guys for that level of competition.
We're amped for it. To be honest with you, like this is what we work for. Like you try to win all these games to be in the upper echelon of the league, to really measure how good you are, not only as a team, but as coaches, as players, because film doesn't lie. And what you do against those teams goes a long way. So it's like, this is where we belong. Kennedy has always been there at that top level throughout their history. And what we really want to do is make sure that we maintain that level and we win some games to really belong. So as far as the kids, man, the kids are like, the way I'm talking right now, that's how the kids are. We have supreme confidence in ourselves, and that's because of the preparation, the way we train, the way we hit the weight room. Our kids are not looking at the schedule like, oh man, we got this team. It's like, yeah, we got this team, let's go. And that's how I think it should be all across New York City, just because it's a competitive sport, it's a competitive landscape, and you shouldn't want to duck any smoke. We only get X amount of games during the year. If you're lucky, you have 11, and then you go on to playoffs and you're playing those games. But high school careers, as we all know, go pretty fast. So the biggest thing is just to maximize every game, up your competition. If you feel like, if you're watching the tape and you're like, yo, they're good, this particular player is good, my matchup is good, all right, you have to match that and you have to be better. And that's just kind of what we preach, and we really focus on ourselves. It's not so much about the opponent, it's how good or how prepared can we be heading into that week.
No, absolutely. So I'll throw it over to you, Jared.
Yeah, Coach O. One of the first things that I really noticed with you guys, first off, you guys actually have like a really, really like nice field, and it's like under the lights in the Bronx. Seems like a really cool atmosphere. What's it like at some of your home games, man?
Well, we really try to make it. So I'll give you not so much of a history lesson, but like just my experience on it. So I went to Clinton, and we used to have to play Kennedy, and we were likely most of the time their homecoming. So my sophomore year, I was on varsity, and they had Hot 97 pumping. It was a party. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? We didn't have lights at Clinton. We had a nice grass field and all that, but we didn't have lights. So I looked at that environment. I wouldn't say I was jealous because I like where I played, but I was like, yo, this is cool. So we always make sure that we keep it at the Friday night games. We're one of the few teams in the city, and especially in the Bronx, that play Friday night games. And we just make it an environment not just for the locals, but the students and parents and everybody that likes to just really have fun and come out and really get closer. Now, the lights and all of that, we have a nice video scoreboard. We have flashing lights, no Kanye. And you just got to come to the games and see it. Like, it's really something that is very unique in the city. There's some places that do it really well. Like, Curtis does it really well. Tottenville does it really well. Even Lincoln. But I would put our game day experience up against anybody.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Dre mentioned you guys playing some really tough teams in the 4A, but you guys also another tough team, but a familiar face to start off the season. It's APR. It feels like, that's going to be a really entertaining game. So, how exciting is that to, start off with a matchup against
Oh, it's always great. Like, honestly, I want to give a big shout out to Coach Perlo just because he's doing it the right way. The way he's running that program, the way he's built it from the ground up, gives me kind of early E-Hall day kind of reminisce to me, because like I played E-Hall in the beginning, like when Wayne was young and like 2009. So I played them at that early, and I'm looking, and it's similar to me. Not saying that he's Danny, not saying that, but Perlo's doing a very good job, and it's always exciting. They're close, and they're playing very good brand of football. So it'll be a good test for our kids to start off the season, and hopefully we get some good work.
Yeah, I can pass it over to you.
I got a question for you, Coach O. Right now, when it comes to Kennedy, now I feel like the two familiar names keep popping up going forward. You got Jeremiah Sanat and you got Derek Betances, right? So who's a night that the city should know about that you feel is going to put themselves on the map this year? Like who's a kid that we should all know about?
I'm gonna give you a couple. I'm gonna give you three. I'm not gonna go crazy and name all my kids. I'm gonna name the guys. So,
and there's always the same names who pop up all the time.
Yeah. But it's just because we don't talk a lot.
It gotta be more than that. It gotta be more than that.
Nah, it's definitely more than that. But we don't talk a lot, so it's cool. Like, I'm fine being in the shadow, and then you turn on the tape, and it's like, yo, where was they all year? Yeah. Hamadou Facero, number 4. He played all year. Very, very fast.
Okay.
He's built like a brick house. And he's a guy, man. Super smart kid, very good GPA. He's looking into, the Ivy Leagues are looking into him.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Under the radar, but we do what we can, and we don't really do a lot of self promotion. And then I'll give you one that he had a great Elite V. And Jared, you should have definitely mentioned him, because I know if you were there, you saw him doing what he had to do, and that's Josiah Buford. And he's out playing receiver. For everyone who says that Kennedy doesn't throw the ball, just watch from number 2 this season. And that's all I'll say about that.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. No, everybody always bashing Kennedy like, why you want to go there? They throw the ball 3 times a game. First of all, when we throw the ball, it's touchdowns most of the time. That's first and foremost. Second of all, we do what we got to do. If we're running the ball at 5-6 yards a clip, come on, man. And then the last one I'll mention, just because he's a good two-way player, is Jeremy Concepcion. He won number 5 last season. He's a 6'3", 250 D lineman, and he's really coming into his own. He shed some of that baby fat. So those are 3 that I'll really put out there, and then you'll see from there. We got some guys. It's not just who you see. We have a lot of guys developing. We got a lot of good recruiting class this season. And we got a lot of local kids, so we develop players at Kennedy, man. That's one thing that I would say, is that we turn kids that never played football before into all-city linebackers.
You got me excited with throw the ball, Coach. I can't wait to see that. I'm gonna keep my eye out for this.
It happens when it needs to, and when the game calls for it. Game flow is a big thing.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
No, Coach. So one thing I want to say, first of all, Hamadou, he showed a lot of highlights when he had to come in for Mr. Betances. I think it was in the South Shore game where Derek couldn't play. So I remember him, definitely, running that sweep, doing a really good job. So I'm really excited that you shot it.
Man. Hami's going to play some defense this year. And they were all on the field at the same time. You guys really didn't notice, but Hami was on the field for every snap the entire season.
Yeah,
Derek as well. And then Manny was on the field too. So our offense is 3 running backs on the field at the same time. So if you really go back and watch the tape, all of them are on the field at the same time. And if you combine all our rushing stats, it's pretty good numbers.
So, Coach, the last question I want to leave for you is a 2-parter. So there's 2 players, one player that's coming back that I want you to talk about and how big of a year it is for him, and that's your quarterback, Jeremiah Sanat, of course. But another player that you're losing is Edward Werko. And I knew he was huge for you on the defense. And I think that the defense was a place that you guys struggled, especially in the South Shore game and in that Tottenville quarterfinal game where you guys were in it in the first half, something that a lot of people don't remember. But then, Tottenville was able to pull away. So how excited are you for the development of Jeremiah, and how big of a loss, and how is it going to be replacing a player like Edward Werko?
Well, I'll start with Eddie first. So Eddie was the aforementioned never played football before and then turned into an all-city linebacker. Eddie was we call him everyday Eddie because every day he'll show up to work, doesn't make any excuses, plays hurt, leads with no worry in the world. Like Eddie was the model football player, model knight that you would love to have on every team. He's just a leader, a cultivator, and he's a really good football player, a thumper, and he's going on to WestCon to play ball over there. So it's tough always losing leaders like that because that's special and you can't really develop leadership. Like you can kind of prove it, but it's something that comes natural and it was natural to Eddie. So it's a big loss, but it's exciting to see the players that we have now. Jerry in particular, he's really going into his own. We've been scouting Jerry, so to say, since he was in 7th grade. So we've had a good relationship with him, and it was committing, then decommit, and he was on the sideline for most of the games, and we're happy that we have him. And what we're doing now is just really developing him as a complete quarterback. So just really his knowledge of the game, his X's and O's, and really unleashing his real talents. I think Jerry's going to have a really, really good year. Coach Vega and Coach Uzzi have been developing him nonstop. And, like, I'm the one up here talking, but it's a big whole staff effort over here at Kennedy. And we put in a lot of work with our players to developing them. So, I honestly, I just can't wait. Like, it's five weeks until we start playing, and I'm just here. Like, I love the process, but it's like, yo, just seeing all the work really come to fruition during the season is, to me, the payoff because it shows the kids, like, yeah, if you work hard and you ball, this is like a direct correlation.
Listen, Coach, it was really a pleasure having you on. You know, I always appreciate talking to you. Always a great conversation. And like I said, we'll see you week 4 for the game of the week, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate all y'all. Congratulations on the show. And yo, no Bronx slander, no Kennedy slander. Whenever, if on the field calls for it, cool. But come on now, put some respect on the Bronx name. I know there's not a lot of things coming out of the Bronx on the public school side, but we developing, and let's not act like we're at the bottom here now.
Listen, like I said, can anyone tell me the last time JFK was not in the top division in the PSAL? The name has been, it's been the 4A, it's been the AA, but it's been JFK there. So
I appreciate y'all, man. I hope you have a wonderful night and go Knights.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Go on.
Anytime, bro.
All right, man. So that was week 4, JFK versus Fort Hamilton. So let's move on to week 5. This was a very, very high scoring game last season. And we're going to get the rematch of it this year. So we'll see if we have a different outcome. But week 5 is going to be Tottenville versus Lincoln, back at 100 Luton Avenue. Now, I'm going to get this up on the other screen, but if I am not mistaken, okay, I'm about to get it. Yeah, so the score of this game was 50-34, Tottenville. And I want to say Tyshawn had 4 touchdowns in this game. Yes, Tyshawn had 4 touchdowns in this game, including a pick 6. Again, you know, this is Tottenville's second time on the game of the week. This is Lincoln's second time on the game of the week. We'll see where both of these teams are at this point of the season. I'm just going to go right to let's go with E. You know, how big of a spot is this for both of these teams?
I think it's more of a, I would say it's more of a bigger game for Lincoln for the fact that in this matchup here, it'll prove if they can hang with a big dog, quote unquote, you know? So the way Lincoln performs against a Tottenville will show if they're ready for like a long postseason run. That's how big
that's a very good point.
That's how big this game is for Lincoln, in my opinion. Like, let's say if Tottenville dog walks them, that's not a good sign for Lincoln, you know? So I don't think that's going to be the case, honestly. I like Lincoln. Lincoln's a very gritty group. And like I said before, I think their strength is going to be up front. So whenever you're solid up front, you should be able to have some type of success, you know? The question is, can they stop that two-headed monster with Tyshawn and Corey? That we're going to have to wait to see if their defense is up for that challenge. But this is always a game that I'm always looking forward to seeing as well.
Yeah, one thing from Nappy. Listen, I agree with you. I mean, having Curtis and Tottenville on the road, especially when you had to go to 100 Luton last year, they definitely drew the short straw.
The PSAL violated them. We could have got that at home. Come on.
Oh,
we could have
yeah.
got that a home game. Yeah.
Jared, your thoughts on this game?
No, man, it's you made a really good point. I think it's an excellent test for Lincoln. They're looking to get back to semifinals and go into their old ways of deep postseason runs, and they definitely feel like they have the group to do it. And I mean, it's a great test. It's an enormous test going against Tottenville. So I think this one's gonna be really interesting. And who knows, at this point in time, with how much talent Tottenville has, there's a chance, they go into this game, undefeated in league play, and they could be rolling. Like week 5, it could be really interesting. And I mean, Lincoln could be the same story. So I mean, it's going to be really, really intriguing. And both of these teams have the opportunity to do great things once November hits. So the fact that it's the Sage Standout game of the week, week 5, a lot of people's eyes should be on it. And also, I mean, two excellent programs. It's always great. Lincoln's Evil.
Andre, you should highlight that comment. I think that's a great comment by Nappy Chappy. Lincoln needs to beat one of these teams. I agree. Lincoln
I think it's the standards that Lincoln set for themselves and Coach O'Connor, right? Like, Lincoln should be up there with all of these teams. Last year, they're 0-3 against their top rivals, and then 0-4 if you include South Shore in the quarterfinals. So we know that that's not the standard for Lincoln. Yep. So, of course, I agree, and I think Coach O agrees that, they want to that was funny. they want to step it up for sure. So I know we spoke about both of these teams already, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited for our next guest in the next game, but I don't want to gloss over this. Any other points on this one, guys?
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah.
All right, let me take a peek into the waiting room. Yeah, he looks like he's ready to go. Let me just send him a quick message. Just making sure our next guest is ready because we're gonna get him on. All right. So this is, I mean, does he really need an introduction at this point? PSAL legend, one of the owners of Lights Out Performance. And listen, very soon we're gonna say that you probably trained under him because he's probably going to train probably 70% of this league in about 5 years. Like when I know he had like this, once this batch of kids get in and all the kids follow him, he'll probably train the majority of the kids in this league.
He's training the youth already. He's training the youth, so he's training the future studs.
That's what I'm saying. And of course, we're talking about Mr. Wayne Morgan. What's going on, man?
My guys, what's going on?
Can't complain, bro. How you? Good to see you.
I'm great, man.
Listen, Wayne.
Jared, what's up?
How's it going, Wayne?
All is well. Can't complain.
Listen, you guys.
Let's go.
You guys could probably guess what the next game is going to be on this list if we have Mr. Wayne Morgan up on here already. And it's the game that I think everyone, honestly, in the tri-state is waiting to see. And of course, week 6, Sage Standout game of the week, the rematch of the 2024 championship game, E. Hall versus Curtis. So, Coach, I want to have you on early just so we can kind of break this game down with you. But first question I have for you is, E-Hall hasn't been in this position for damn near half a decade. Training in the offseason, really chasing something. You guys have been sitting on the throne for a while, and, hopefully for a short period of time, it's, somebody else has it. So how has it been being on the inside and watching the Dutchman getting ready for this season?
Man, like I said last year on the show, it's it's hard to keep winning, especially when the odds is stacked against you all the time, year in and year out. But truthfully, I feel like it was a reset that we needed to have as far as like character building. Because when you on your high horse, you kind of forget all the little things that got you there. So it kind of was more so of that. We were missing a lot of real leadership and accountability. We were kind of just getting by because of talent, and then that kind of got in the way. But I feel like it was good for us on the coaching side and on the player side. Just you just gotta know, like, you're not high and mighty. We're not invincible. Anybody can get beat on any given day. I do feel like Curtis had a great team. They did their thing, but I know we beat ourselves. Not to discredit what they done, because they had a great season. They beat us twice in 1 year, which is kind of rare for us. But salute to them. But I feel like, for us, we needed that. We needed to kind of like reset, get back to the drawing board.
Yeah, man. This matchup again, which is, I personally would have liked to see you guys go to the Castle this year. But you guys are going to be, hosting this game again. Again, just like you said, this is a game where you guys, fell short in. And while Coach Lane
hold on, Ma.
Yeah, go. I'll give you a second.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So so you feel like it's been a refocus this year, and I've spoke about, I think that you guys have possibly two of the best units coming back in your linebacking core, and of course the D-backs, something that very well. So talk about those two units, and they were young last year, and now they're seasoned. So what are you looking forward?
You said the linebacker core and what other group?
And the secondary.
As far as our linebacker core were extremely young last year. We pretty much got everybody back. It's one of our better positions. As far as the DB group, we got a lot of young guys that'll be getting a lot of action this year. We lost Dev, we lost Rich, we lost Jaden Locke. So we pretty much lost like 3 to 4 DBs. But that's a position that we kind of always make sure we're loaded on, and we got guys. But we got Jasir coming back. This is his senior year. He's pretty much been playing since his freshman year. He's literally like a third coach now at this point, with me, Coach Mouse, and him. We got Logan. I'm not sure if you guys know about Logan, but Logan will
he's gonna be a sophomore, right?
Logan will be a sophomore this year, and he will be playing a lot of defense this year coming up.
Okay.
He's a smooth young guy. Like his game is like effortless. He's super smooth and natural at the corner position. So he'll definitely get some action there. We have David that just came in from South Shore. Great addition. He's a leader. He came in ready to work. He didn't come in, he earned everything. He knew coming in that he would have to earn everything and nothing is gonna get handed to him. So he kind of already came in with that mindset. He's definitely gonna be knocking people's heads off this year. We got Justice Murray. We got a surprise about him. He's going to be doing a lot this year.
You don't got to give up all your secrets.
I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much. But just know Justice will be on the field a lot.
That's
Nas is one of our younger guys. Well, he's going into junior year now. He got a lot of work to do. Based off the season he had last year, I feel like he could have had a better year. He knows that. He hold himself to a high standard. So he's been working extremely hard this year. He probably gained like 10 pounds of muscle coming in on this season. Also, we have Zebo. He's a tackling machine. He flies around. This kid benched 85
Wow.
this off season. Power clean 295. So he's definitely coming. He's head hunting. He's extremely strong. He's a bowling ball. We got Delhi coming back. Been playing since a freshman, so we got a lot of experience at the linebacker group. But to be real, one of our better groups is the receiving core. We got Victor Bebo, was one of my Bube. It's one of my favorite young guys. He's a extremely hard worker, man. This kid shows up to practice hour early. He's out there pre-practicing every day. Nair is one of the best young receivers in the PSAL, in my opinion. We went out to the UConn 7-on-7, and this guy probably was the best player on the field.
Wow.
Like, yeah, he was going crazy. He has great hands, body control. He's super advanced for a young guy. But yeah, man, I'm definitely excited about this year. It's a get back year for us, basically. You know, we hold ourselves to a high standard, so we just wanna come back and show everybody that like we ain't really lose a step. You know, I'm happy that the PSAL is heading in the right direction, and as far as the talent is kind of starting to balance out a little bit.
Yeah.
We're not getting everybody coming here, so you know, you got a lot of kids going to that school. It's my mom back here. Come on, Mom. Say what's up, Mom.
Yo, what's up, man?
Say what's up, Mom. She just walked in. When I paused the camera, I had to go open the door for her.
What's going on, man? This is the Sage Media schedule reveal show. What's going on?
Hey, Mom.
You stealing stuff? Mom, give me a second. All right, go ahead. But yeah, man. I'm definitely excited about this year. The guys have something else. We got a chip on our shoulder. So yeah, man, I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, I definitely have another question for you, but I'm going to pass on to Jared. I know I'm sure you've been waiting to ask a question.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I know you guys mentioned, you know, you went to UConn, and you guys have been doing just a bunch of stuff this off season. So I guess overall, you know, how's that been going with, you know, all your guys coming back in such a year where there's a lot of motivation?
Man, I've been so hard on these guys, man. It was times, you know, in the weight room where I had to be the bad guy. You know, sometimes you got to be the bad guy just to make sure that we're going in the right direction. So I'm holding everyone to a high standard. I expect a lot out of the seniors. You know, being a leader comes with a lot. You know, sometimes it's not cool being a leader. I would say the coolest days being a leader is game day when you go out for the coin toss. After that,
that's a good point.
Back to reality, you kind of gotta bring everybody along with you. It's one name I didn't mention, Marcus Baptiste. He's one of our O-line, D-line.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
He got, I think he received like 4 offers over this offseason.
Saying that stock is going up.
He worked extremely hard, and I mention his name because he's a leader by example. He does, you know, everything the right way. Today, today he was actually bringing the ball bags, not the ball bags. He was basically carrying the bags back to the bin. And normally, as a senior, you know, you get the young guys to do that. And, you know, today I was kind of joking on him, like, damn, man, you a senior and you still bringing the bags back to the bin? Like what's going on? You know, but that's just a testament to the type of person he is. You know what I mean? So he's a great kid. Having guys like that is great for the program. So he's a leader by example. You know, he don't say a lot, but not everybody is a good talker. But this guy, you just gotta watch him. He just came in last year, and now he's 4 offers in, and you know, he's a great addition to the program.
Yeah, definitely. And I can pass it over to you.
I got a question for you, Wayne, Coach Morgan. So now I keep hearing around the E-Hall camp the whole get back thing. Like that's the mindset, and I feel like collectively, from the coaching staff to the players, everyone has that chip on their shoulder. Like, nah, we got to get back to our standard, what our program is usually about, you know? So like you've been around E Hall for a very long time. So like how's that how's that feel? You know, like kind of like the roles being reversed. You're not used to feeling that type of way. Like, nah, we got to get back now. Like, how's you been around E Hall with that mindset now? You know, because that's not what you guys are used to. You know.
Nah, for me personally, man, you know, I like getting out the mud. You know, coming from where I come from, we always worked and fought for everything that we had. We always had to earn it. I was jealous of these guys the last 5 years, man. I'm seeing Nike. Kids is spoiled,
Wish
you know,
we had
and I
that.
remind them that every day. Like, you know, you guys got it good. You know, a lot of these guys are standing on the shoulders of giants. You know what I'm saying? So they're getting cleats, they're getting sweatsuits, they're getting Nike Tech, they get gloves. They don't gotta pay for nothing. You know what I mean? So I wasn't used to that, you know. So that already kind of was like not rubbing me wrong. It's amazing. I would want that. You know, you want the next generation to get things that you didn't get. But I'm used to grinding and on a get back and preparing with a chip on your shoulder. So now this is really nothing new to me. It's new to, you know, it's new to the players that that just came in, that's maybe like a junior now that got 3 rings. It's players that could have, my nephew, Nicholas Merced, he could have left with 4 rings. Like, that's crazy.
It's
like,
unheard of.
So now, that's what I'm saying. So now having this reset is kind of like is good for the morale of the team. You know, we kind of gotta get back to the drawing board and getting back to business. And if you ask the guys, I play that song "Get Back" every single day. In the weight room, I was playing it every day. So I'm trying to embed it and install it in them. You know that this season is personal.
Yeah, and coach, I'm just trying to make sure I get the numbers right. So if we just talk about, you know, your top rivals, you know, 11 points separated you and Tottenville last year. And just like we were saying, you know, 5 points separated you and Curtis.
Yeah.
In those type of games where it's so close, and I'll come out and say it now, I predict these games to be just as close this year with all the talent that everyone's coming back with. How much experience do you think not only the players but the coaching staff has had from, I mean, if you just look at that semifinal alone, I mean, it was just insane. So how much experience do you think you guys can take from that?
Tottenville always, it kind of started with me when I was not saying me, but when we played 2009, I should say, my sophomore year. They beat us twice. We were like 10-2 that season. They beat us twice. So since then, it was always personal. It was always a rivalry. We always knew that Tottenville was the game that you kind of everybody had to lock in. Fast forward to now to see like what's happening now, it's crazy. Last year, that game was one of the most craziest games. Being a coach, like your anxiety is like through the roof, and I'm a psychopath when I'm on the field. So, man, that last drive when they were like driving down, and it was like a 4th down. It was a 4th down. They converted. And then now we was kind of inside the 10. I knew the whole time, like, they got a kicker. So once they kind of passed, like, the 25, I was like, damn, man. They, like, a field goal could get us right now. We haven't been in that situation in a long time. So, you can't even imagine what we felt after getting the block and then the touchdown. It was insane. So I put that game like the most like craziest game I ever been a part of, as a player and coach, just based off of the emotion in the game. But Curtis, the first game was more like a shock. It was like, we lost? Like, did we lose today? Like it felt like it didn't feel real, So after getting back to the drawing board and understanding where we was at a team and what we need to work on, how we need to attack them the next time, and losing the championship game felt 20 times as worse than when we lost to them the first time, because it came down to a missed field goal. But to be honest, I didn't even blame the kicker on that. It shouldn't have came down to that. It was so many the game. It was so many things that happened during
Yes, that's a very good point. Yeah,
that led to that. My nephew jumped off sides on a 4th and 2. We was like on a 30-yard line. We could have got the first down. Ran some time. Amir fumbled the ball. We had a flag on Lyric, and it was so many things that led up to that point. Josh said didn't give up a touchdown in 2 years.
That was if you're talking about the throw in the back of the end zone to Casey
that
Royal,
was a dot.
That was a dot.
It was a dot.
The ball literally on the left shoulder. It was a great throw. It was great defense, great throw. So I'm not mad at Josh said about that. It was a great throw, great catch. So it was one of those situations where they kind of just wanted it more towards the end of the game, man. Hats off to them. They did a great job. And that's just what it was. So now we kind of got to reset and get back to the drawing board and just get back to who we are and what we know.
Yeah, and just a final question, because I feel like it'd be kind of, while we have you on here, we have to talk about, Amir Monroe. Amir has just been tremendous in the PSAL and throughout his entire career. And honestly, I've spoken about it, when I interviewed Coach Neville, and I'm going to speak about it with you as well. To me, those 4 players, Amir, Tyshawn, Corey, and Justice, in that semifinal, I really think they put themselves on a different platform as players who can really take over a game. And especially in a semifinal. It's funny actually asking you this question as a person who could take over a game yourself. So I guess my question is, what is the ceiling for Amir, and how proud of you are him? Just simple as that.
Oh man, I'm extremely proud of Amir, man. I remember his first carry when he first moved up from JV to varsity. He was in playoffs. He scored on his first carry. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, but he scored. He broke like a 30 or 40 yarder his freshman year in the playoffs. I forgot who we were playing against. So I was when he did that, I was like, damn, we might have something here. But Coach Lambert was always extremely high on him. He's high on every running back he brings in the building. So to me, I always try to compare every back to my best friend Shaquille Jackson I used to play. So he ain't no Quell. That's always my response. For any back he come in, well, is he him or is he him? Is he a Curtis? Is he a Quell? We got Khalil. We have a lot of great running backs. So when you're back here at Erasmus, it's like when you look at the history and who played here, you have no choice but to fill in the shoe. And Amir, his ceiling is he don't have a ceiling. In my opinion, this kid put on 15 pounds. I think he put on like 8 pounds of muscle. So he's sitting at like 215 right now. 6 foot,
crazy.
15, and he's in high school. That's kind of hard. And he runs extremely tough. But yeah, Amir he's been a great kid, man. His Uncle Rock, he's been on his back about everything, and he's blessed to have someone like that in his corner, just to make sure that he's doing what he needs to do. He got me in the building. He got Coach Lambert, so Amir's gonna be good, man. I have no worries about him. This kid works extremely hard. His he doesn't have a ceiling, honestly. And I think this year it's gonna be scary, man. 215, what you gonna do with that?
At that speed is nuts. And it's the first time I've told a lie on here. I do have one last question for you, or one last request of you. Just shout out Lights Out Performance and what you guys do for the community, man. Especially what you guys do on Juneteenth.
Yeah. Thank you, man. You came in the clutch so much, man. You came with the pictures and you did your thing. So I want to huge shout out to you and thank you so much for that. because I done sent it out to so many people. I was like, yo, look how it went. Look at the pictures. Boom. I'm just sending the link that you sent me. But I appreciate you, man, 100%. I definitely want to give a shout out to Ken Do as well. I didn't mention my boy Ken Do. He's been doing extremely well this entire offseason, and I'm actually excited to see what he's gonna do this year. He's been working his ass off. He's been kind of taking in that leadership role. We had another quarterback that just transferred in the building, Tommy. Tommy's been doing well. And I've been seeing a lot of people people like to stare the pod and do what they do. But man, to be honest, if you're not bringing in guys to compete to get other players better, then you're not really doing a good job as a coach. Because you look at on a college level, freshmen come in every year. NFL guys get drafted, so every position is not safe. It's not locked in. You got to compete every single year, and you got to make sure your guys is continue to get better. So that's all that is about, man. But I'm definitely looking forward to the season, man. Our motto is get back, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, Coach, and I appreciate you kind of taking the lead on that. Of course, I wanted it to come, from an E-Hall player's mouth, because coach, I should say, because of course, again, I guess it's kind of a message to everyone. This is a clear sign of growth for the league, right? Last year, TYJ, Uzzi Sports, shot by LJ, GG Media, sorry if I didn't remember your name, but, Sage Media, of course, it was tremendous what we did. And now seeing more people come up, there's going to be more noise. If we want more eyes, if we want to grow, there are going to be more platforms. Platforms are going to, have their opinion on things.
100%.
So it's a sign of the growth. Just like you said, it's a tremendous opportunity for both players to really compete.
Yeah, man, it's just about getting better, man.
Yeah.
Justice would definitely be on the field everywhere. He'd be at the quarterback, receiver, wherever we need him. But even that, Justice is getting the receivers better, because he's the fastest player on the team. He can't be on the
Victor,
side.
you heard that, Victor? How you feel about that? I see Victor in the chat. How you feel about that, bro?
I was thinking that when he said that.
Victor, you're just gonna let him say that to you, bro?
Yeah, Vic know that. But it's just about the competitive spirit. That's what that's what keep the progression going. If you're not getting better 1% every day, then you're going backwards.
No, absolutely. So listen, Coach, really appreciate you. Shout out to Lights Out Performance. Of course, not only Juneteenth, but all the work that you guys do all 100%. Year round. Like I said, we're gonna get to the point where 70% of this league is a Lights Out alumni.
Man, so, and about, like you said, I say 3 more years.
3 years.
3 more years. TYJ, no, he know.
He already got the youth.
Look, TYJ be outside. He know what I'm talking about, man. So I'm definitely excited for the future. These kids been grinding. They work 10 times harder than the high school guys, and I remind them that every day. If anyone wants to do it, I will bring my kids out, and 100% we can do the same drills, and I guarantee you they look better. Guarantee.
Coach, really appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure, right?
Guys. Yes, sir.
Coach, yes, sir.
All right, so that's E-Hall versus Curtis, week 6. I see our next guest is in the camera. So this one, I'm not gonna spoil this one. I'm gonna throw this one up for week 7. Week 7, man. Make sure everybody in the chat. All right. Actually, before I go to week 7, you see what I did there? Before I go to week 7, I want to highlight something that Lyle said earlier, where he said there's a lot of repeat locations. Yes, there are a lot of repeat locations. Not hiding that at all. These are the best games. As simple as that. These are the games that I think that most people are going to want to see. the main reason why we have the membership, the new membership, members only game streams that we're adding is so we can cover more games. So, a game I'm looking at, I'll just let everybody know right now, a game I'm looking at is South Shore Tottenville on that Saturday, if, the schedule can work out on week 1. So, that would be, let's say, like the first members only stream. So definitely make sure you guys become members. Again, let me, if I have it handy, yes, I do. I'm going to put it in the chat. And of course, I know it's always kind of annoying if someone's trying to sell you something, so I'm not going to beat you guys over the head with it, but just for notice, definitely become a member, and so to make sure you don't miss a game. So yes, there are a lot of repeated locations, but we're hoping to do minimum 2 games a week, 3 games a week. So definitely make sure you become a member so you don't miss a game. Lyle. Oh, my fault, Lyle. I see what you're saying now.
That's what I
whatever. I had the okay, yeah. I had to plug the membership anyway. But yes, you are right. There are a little strange. I don't know why games aren't flipping home and away. But it's good that Lyle's in the chat. It's good that we talk about a matchup that is flipping home and away. And to me, this is one of the biggest matchups in all of New York City. South Shore versus Eagle Academy, sponsored by Eagle Academy. And listen, I left this guy waiting long enough. He is a veteran alongside Coach Wayne Morgan. He's a veteran on the show. He was named the media. Oh God, I see the chat already. Jesus Christ. He was the media offensive coordinator of
y'all
in the chat are ridiculous. I swear to God. All right, I'm not highlighting those, but you guys are very, very funny in the chat, just so you know. No, I can't do that. I have to highlight this one. This is extremely funny. All right, this is extremely funny. That's all I'm gonna say. That is extremely funny. All right, let's bring him on. Offensive coordinator of South Shore, Coach Legree. What's going on, man?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Can't complain. How you feeling?
Coach.
What's up, fellas? What up, E? Uzzi, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, man. I'm doing amazing. Ready to get back to it.
Yes, sir.
We here.
South Shore versus Eagle. I mean, of course, you know how big of a game this is. Just the rivalry that's really brewing between the two schools. It goes not only football and like other sports, and of course you guys always want to compete to be the best in Brooklyn. So you guys get to have this game at your field. Just when you look at this matchup, how excited are you for it?
I'm excited. I think I always say this, I feel like it's more of a basketball rivalry. Our basketball team, we both have really good basketball teams. So I feel like that's where it kind of started. Like that hatred, like when you see them, it's just like, our basketball, both our basketball teams have been really good. Their basketball team is kind of like, got us like a past couple years. So it's just kind of like frustrating. And it's like, when you see them on the football field, it's like you see the same guys that play the basketball games. And it's just like, it just makes you like dislike them more. But I'm excited. Definitely excited. I'm always excited to compete. I'm always excited to spar with other coaches. And I think, with their additions this year, it's gonna be a lot more competitive than it was last year.
Yeah, and Coach, I have to ask you just right away. Nick Cyrus, replacing him. I mean, we're talking, better than me. Was it 3,200 yards? How many yards are we talking? You didn't hit 4,000, was it?
No, we gotta blame the PSL refs for that. I won't even get. I won't.
Please don't.
I don't want to get fined on here, so I'll leave that alone.
But yeah, it was a ton of yards. It's a ton of production, and like let's just forget about the yards, man. It's just the leadership he bring, the calmness he bring to the offense. You know, of course, you can't replace a player like that, like for like. But, you know, just tell us about, you know, the process that it's been to groom a new quarterback.
There's no replacing Nick Cyrus. There's no replacing pretty much any of the guys that we lost from top to bottom, from Nick to Rich to Tajay, to Chris, Etienne, Jerry, Tyler. There's no replacing those guys. But just as a quarterback, like having a quarterback with that kind of poise, with that kind of knowledge of the position, there's nothing that you can really do or like there's no coaching point that'll help you like, you know, close that kind of gap between a new starter or even a returning starter. Even if say we got, you know, somebody that has been a 3-year starter somewhere else, like it's just his skill set was just different than anyone else's. And I mean, obviously, you know, everybody saw that. You know, we knew that from day one. Obviously, that's my nephew, so I've seen it for a long time. He was out in Maryland doing the same thing, so you know, he broke 8 Maryland state records his junior year. So, you know, I was just mad his mom didn't let me reclass him, because y'all would have really hated me if she let me do that. She was like, Dave, no, 1 year, 1 year only. I was like, yo, please, just let me do this, please. And she wasn't with it. Nicholas was with it. My older brother was with it. And whenever y'all see his mother, just thank her. Because if we'd have had him for another year, it would have been really ugly. But yeah, there's no replacing Nick. Actually, today was his first day on campus. So he's getting settled in. Today was Tajay's first day on campus. Yeah, officially, you know, he was out there with Rich every other weekend, but you know, officially his first day on campus. So, you know, I'm happy for my guys. For people that say that we don't put people in college, you know, we've done it. We're going to continue to do it, and you know, looking forward to, you know, what the future holds for us.
I definitely have some more questions, but I'm definitely going to pass it over to E, because I'm not going to take over the whole interview. So E, go ahead, man.
What's up, Coach? I got a question for you. So now, a guy that stood out to me because I see his progression already, and I'm expecting a big year for him. I feel like amongst you guys, the coaching staff, you guys already know that he's one of the top defensive backs in the city. I'm talking about Trevor Smith. So can you just let us know about his progression and what his offseason been like, and what are you guys expecting from him this year in his sophomore year?
We're just expecting for him to be in that conversation with one of the top DBs in the state. Really, you know, being a starter as a freshman, you know, as a defensive back is not easy. Being a defensive back isn't easy, you know, in itself, especially these days with offenses. And you know, you got to be able to tackle, you got to be able to play press, you got to be able to play off man, you got to, you know, there's so many things that these coaches ask you for. So just having to be able to do that in general is tough. But being able to do that at a high level as a freshman, you know, it showed that, you know, he has a ton of upside. And this offseason, there's been a lot of coaches that have loved his film. They want to continue to see the progression. So if he has a really good, you know, sophomore year, which we expect, you know, we'll be expecting, you know, for him to, you know, have a lot of offers. And, you know, as far as his play, I think that he's going to be, like I said, he should be in the conversation with as a top defensive back.
I definitely agree. I got one more question for you now. So when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, I feel like the city already knows about Adrian, you know? So from a coaching perspective, I know a few guys who I feel like are going to step up, but who do you see stepping up in terms of someone other than Adrian? Because I feel like from the outside looking in, that's what a lot of people think. Like, oh, all they really have over there is 12. But I feel like there's a lot more on the offensive side of the ball in terms of the playmakers. So who do you see stepping up other than 12?
I mean, that's easy. That's always the easiest thing to say, just because the guys that he was with, like he was running with last year, they all graduated. So it's like he's the familiar face, rightfully so. Like he earned that. He earned that right for them to say that, you know. But you know, we have a lot of other good players. You know, we got some guys coming back. We got some guys that, you know, that just came in, and you know, we have a really good quarterback that I think that has a high ceiling, and his name is George Adams.
Sure.
You know, I think George is gonna be able to tear it up. You know, honestly, you know, he's a smart kid. You know, he processes things quickly. It's been an adjustment for him because last year he's on JV. You know, where, you know, I kind of just worked with him during the week a little bit, but I didn't coach him. You know, in the day to day. So like I feel like my intensity was something for him to like kind of get used to. But you know, as he's gotten used to it, he's gotten a lot better. You know, we got returning guys like Tommy Lewis, Chase Smitherman. You know, these guys are returning guys that got some time last year, that was able to play last year, and you know, kind of get some, you know, like kind of get their feet wet. You know, like not really, they weren't like a focal guy. They didn't have any pressure on them. They were kind of able to just learn, you know, go through the flow of the game. We have two guys that came in during the off season. Call a kid Rolly. His name is Jason. He got here. He arrived, and in 2 months, you know, he was a standout guy at the LIU camp. He got an offer. You know, Silas Sealy, I think Silas only had about 4 or 5 catches last year. I assure you he's going to have a lot more than that this year. He's one of the guys that has been a huge, you know, addition to us throughout the off season. And you know, we got a couple other guys, but I think those are the guys that are gonna really, like, when you watch us play, those are gonna be the guys that are, you know, making, you know, a lot of the plays for us. And we got some good running backs too. We don't, you know, obviously, you know, we don't talk about that enough. We got some good backs. We have a 8th grader that came in. He's a running back. He's about 6'2". I want to say about maybe 6'1". He's about 6'1". I don't know how much he weighs, about 6'1", 180, maybe somewhere around there. And Coach Jamal is trying to, you know, slow play the process, and I'm screaming for him to be playing varsity right now. So, you know,
if he's ready, he's ready.
I'll let Coach Jamal. I don't step on my coach's toes. I'll let Coach Jamal do that. But I think that's where his ceiling is. I think he could be someone that can have a sudden impact for us.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I actually want to jump in and follow up on E's question, because I want to focus in on 12. And, you know, of course, huge congratulations for the commitment to Hampton. I'm sure you're proud of that, of course, as a alum.
Absolutely.
But my question, because when I picture your offense and when I picture the role of Adrian last year, you know, he saw a lot of single coverage. You know, he was able to get into the slot, run a lot of deep balls. You know, he was, I'm going to call it a lead blocker on a lot of your screens when he'd be in motion. The specific play I'm talking about, but I want to air it out for everybody. But he was a lead blocker on a lot of plays. And this year, it's a completely different role for him. You know, if you think of having a player like Rich, having a player like Tajay, who can kind of catch those intermediate balls, and allowing, you know, Adrian to kind of be more of a role. In my opinion, now it's going to be on him to kind of be that all-around receiver. So how is the process of watching him develop? And you don't have to tell us all of your secrets, but, you know, how is his role going to evolve in the offense?
How do I answer that? He's been a guy that's always done what we've asked him to do. Like, Adrian is a kid that came out for football. He never played football before high school. He came out for his friend. His friend came out to try out for the team. And his friend was like, yo, just try out with me or whatever. Like, all right, cool. And next thing you know, they're like, yo, who's this kid? And the next thing you know, he's been a varsity player. I think he probably played 1 game on JV or something like that, or he practiced with the JV. But after that, it was like he was a varsity guy. So he's always been a guy that his role has always been like developed, like where his skill set was just very good, but you just didn't have the knowledge of it. But as he's gotten, more knowledgeable of the game, we've been able to expand his role, and that's not going to change this year. He's going to do a lot of the things that we, asked Rich to do last year. But we're not gonna put too much on his plate. We're gonna allow him to be who he is. He's a great leader. He's not a vocal leader. He's he's gonna be out there, 45 minutes before he's on the jugs machine. He has the other receivers on the jugs machine with him. They're catching 100 passes. He's heard all of the noise last year about the drop in against Canarsie. In the same way with Trevor, we mentioned Trevor earlier. They've heard all the noise about how he gave up the big pass towards the end of the game. Like, these are all things that are motivating them, each and every day. And and it should motivate you. Like, when you drop a pass that could potentially help win us the game. And a lot of people don't even realize this. Like, we were down at probably like the 6 or 7 yard line. We were in a spot concept on the left, and Adrian was supposed to run a curl on the backside. He kind of moved like it was a scramble drill and kind of got in the way of Nicholas throwing the ball to Rich in the back of the end zone, which would have been another touchdown. So he remembers all of these things, and like he's everything has just been fuel to the fire for him. And along with the other guys, he's going to be able to alleviate a lot of that pressure. He's going to draw the double team and all of the roll-in coverages that Rich got last year. But it's on Chase, it's on Silas, it's on Rolly to be Adrian of last year, right? You get that single coverage, you're a dog, go be a dog.
Absolutely. E, do you have anything, or can we go to Jared?
One last question, Coach. One last question. All right. So now you open up against a tough Farrell, and you got Tottenville following that. There's still a lot of football to be played after that, regardless of the outcomes of those games, So is the approach different knowing we have a tough Tottenville week 1, or is it just business is business? It's like, okay, we're preparing how we normally prepare.
Line up.
Let me put that in the chat. Hold on. Let me put that in the chat.
Line up.
I respect
like
that.
our mentality doesn't change based on who we play. Like, we asked for this, right? Remember, like, we went from 2A to 4A. Like, we asked for this. Like, so if we go out and get our ass kicked, that's what we asked for. We went out and got our ass beat it was cold that day in November, and we went to Curtis and we told them to line up, and they did, and then they sent us back to Brooklyn. That's what we want. We want to compete against the best. You have to do that. That. Like, we grew up, like, I'm a little older than you, but your brother was older than me. I seen those Canarsie teams, how dominant they were, bro. Like, they wasn't ducking smoke. Like, I remember, like, Sheep's Head growing up, like, like, teams didn't duck smoke. And it's like, I wasn't raised like that. We weren't raised like that as coaches. So it's like, we're never gonna sit up here and say, oh yeah, we wanna play really good teams, just not the best. No, like, we wanna play everybody. Like, we're embracing the challenge. And yes, we're gonna lose games. We're gonna win a lot of games too. We're gonna continue to get better in doing that, and then we're gonna continue to put kids in college while doing that. So line up.
Real quick, I'm very happy that the show has finally started. Shout out to Monty finally entering the chat. A little late, you know what I'm saying? But we'll forgive you for that.
I feel like that's the funniest dude on the show, man. That's the funniest dude on the show, man. I was in the chat. I was about to call them academics again. I seen DeAndre ask for him. We can't call them academics no more.
Yeah.
He called him a go.
I seen him ask for him, and I was like, yo, Dad, that's crazy. Where is he at? And I'm like sitting there watching, and I ain't see no message from him. So definitely shout out to him. That's definitely the funniest dude on this show.
Jared, go ahead, man.
Not really a question. I kind of just want to quickly really give you your flowers for the portion of trying to get your players to the best places. Like I see you super active on Twitter. You know, you guys are, you know, always active on social media, just trying to help your guys. I think that's such a big, you know, thing nowadays. Social media is huge, and you guys are just trying to spotlight your players. So yeah, I think, you know, what you guys are building, you know, it's a great thing. And yeah, man, this one against Eagle, really looking forward to it. My plan is to be there in person,
Yeah, man,
so
pull up.
it's gonna be exciting.
Pull up, Jared. You always good on the outside of Brooklyn, man. Always good. Always good, man. But nah, I definitely appreciate it. I want to say thank you for that. You know, really appreciate it. It's about, you know, it's about leaving these kids better than, you know, when we were here. I always tell the kids, like, you know, how much my coaches from high school, Coach Salvato, Coach Carbonaro, they helped me out, and you know, they drove me to Purdue, Indiana. Like the coach, you know, was, you know, they liked my film, but it's who's he playing against? And my coach said, well, you know, we'll bring him out to the camp. They drove me to Indiana, and you know, that's the kind of like, that's the kind of dedication and thought process. That's the thought process that I bring to my kids each and every day. Like, you know, shoot, like if coach need to see you in person, all right, like, yo, let's go. Like, you know, we'll make it happen. I'm active on Twitter. You know, I try to make sure I get my guys seen as much as possible. Like, you know, and you know, for when we were growing up, they had, you know, you had to send out the tape. You know, you had to do a lot of stuff. Now I could just send you a link. Like, all right, cool. I'm just sitting in the house. You know, my son running around. I'm sending out huddle links, you know, nonstop. You know, just to try to make sure, you know, my guys get recognized. You know, I'm calling, you know, old teammates and people that I played against that are, you know, college coaches now. You know, sending them out. Like, and a lot of them are at schools that, you know, I don't think, you know, any of our kids can go to. But it's like, yo, even if you're at say at Alabama, right? We don't have a kid that can play at Alabama right now. But yo, you know, do you know somebody at, you know, Alabama A&M? Do you know somebody, you know, that like wherever? Yes, like, you know, and I feel like that's what it's about. You know, like we want to put our kids in positions where they can succeed and they can do, you know, things better than I did it, better than, you know, all of the coaches. And you know, 4 or 5 years, they can come back and say they're going to the NFL, or they can say, you know, I just finished my bachelor's and my master's. Like that's, you know, that's what it's all about.
No, great. And so I'm going to have this be the last question. And this is something that, you know, I think about a lot. And of course, the physical side of the game. And I know I said that, you know, Nick Cyrus might be the biggest loss in the whole PSAL. If he's number one, I think, you know, Daniel Germain and Christian Etienne might be 3 and 4. Honestly, like I really can even say that, like how big of an impact they were, especially in that, you know, that quarterfinal game. You know, the game that really, I think it took everyone 9 weeks to really say, all right, South Shore is for real in that game where Daniel had about, I think it was 15 tackles, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, we talk about Nick.
He ran the ball really well in that game too.
Absolutely.
Like, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but he ran the ball. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you better now.
Yeah,
actually.
my AirPod just died, so he ran the ball really well in that game, and you know we don't get enough credit for, you know, how well we ran the ball this year. But going into that game, we saw a couple things on film that we felt like we could exploit to kind of neutralize the game a little bit, and then we were able to just kind of like break the game open a little bit. But it started with guys like Daniel Germain, and we talk about like putting kids in college. Like Daniel Germain came to us, he transferred to us, and he was like his life. You know, he needed help in life, and like the tutelage and the conversations and not even the on the field stuff, the off the field stuff, like the way we helped him out. And it's like to see him, like, you know, he's out on the field, you know, working out, and we yelling out, "What's up, Debo?" And just like seeing that kid and just like knowing where he came from and knowing where he's at right now, it's just a testament to the coaching staff. But losing a guy like him, that's gonna hurt. You losing Christian, it's gonna hurt. But you don't replace those guys with one person. You replace them as a committee. Like like some of the plays that Christian and Daniel made last year. They're not. We don't have one person that's gonna make those plays. Like I remember you and I was talking about this, Dre, on the field. Like the clip against Kennedy where he basically scrapes across the whole offensive line and makes a tackle in the backfield. That's not. We don't have someone right now that can do that. But if we have somebody that can, we didn't for that play. For instance, that defensive end on that side didn't do his job. So now if we can get a defensive end to do his job on that side, maybe we don't need someone that is scraping across the whole field. So if we can play more by committee than by, just having those splash players, and I think that'll be able to help us. And at the end of the day, I feel like we got skills for days. We have to get better up front to be able to compete with Curtis, with Lincoln consistently, with Tottenville, and with Erasmus. Right now we are. If we play 7-on-7, I feel like we would beat everybody by 40. But football doesn't play like that. We have to be able to be better up front.
Listen, Coach, so you guys are the Week 7 game of the week. We'll talk. We'll try to get there earlier than Week 7, hopefully. And it was a pleasure, man. We'll talk very soon. You know that.
Can I say one thing, please? For anybody that's watching,
excuse me. I forgot to.
Yes, no, it's fine. It's all good. So, Be Great Academy is a business that I created with Coach Battle, and we do a lot of things throughout the community, training, college readiness. We take kids to college camps, college tours, and we do a lot of good things. One thing that we did this year, we started the Friday Night Lights 7-on-7 league.
Yes.
And it was amazing. Like I see, Andre popped out. TYJ was there religiously. LJ was there religiously. Shout out to Coach O'Connor. I seen him on the stream earlier. He opened his doors to us. We want to open the doors to everybody. Next year. Like we don't want it to be something where it's 5 teams. We want it to be everybody. We are so behind in New York City. So many teams, so many states are already in pads right now in July. And, we're running around in shorts and T-shirts right now. So, when I'm talking to these college coaches and I'm telling them about these 7-on-7s and they're asking like, yo, who's going to be there? Who's going to be there? And, if I can tell them, the best players in the city are going to be there, these colleges are come out. So that kid that's going under the radar, who you are, whoever you are, you can possibly be seen by that school in April instead of having to wait until October, November. So that's just, my little piece on it. I appreciate you guys having me and look forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, because you just, of course, big shout out to Be Great Academy. I think hopefully you guys are watching what's really happening, right? Like, yes, it's Coach Legree, PSDL legend talking, right? Of course, it's Jared, E, and it's myself, with a platform and everything like that. But what we're really building is an economy around football. And every other state has an economy around football. And I know, Legree, you really understand what I'm saying here. Like, even Jersey, I don't know much about Connecticut, but they probably have more of an economy around football. And who better to build it than people from New York, from Long Island, from Brooklyn, So hopefully this is something you guys can really support, Be Great Academy, what they're doing, Sage Media, what we're doing, TYJ, Uzzi Sports, and, take notes from where we're succeeding, where we're failing, because, it's going to be up to you guys to keep the economy going. So Hopefully you guys can really support it.
And one last thing, I know I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Another thing we did this year, we will do it again next year, is we had a college showcase. And that's something else that all of these other states do. Even Jersey does it. even I know, even I don't even want to say Jersey, Hayes does one where they have a college showcase where they have, they have a bunch of colleges come out. We did one this year at South Shore. Shout out to the guys that, that came by. We want to do it again next year. We want to make it something where we can have 15, 20 colleges here in the city to see our guys. Not just one school, not just this school, not just that school. Everybody, you know, like, and it takes a village to make all of this happen. And I reached out to a lot of coaches. You know, shout out to the ones that got back to me, and there was coaches that didn't even respond. But I'm a call again next year because it's about the city. It's about making everybody better, and you know, I'm hoping that they see that too. You know, like during the months of August and December, I hate you all, but in January, February, March, I'm trying to help everybody. So, and that's just as blunt that's as straightforward as I can put it. Like, you know, I've seen kids. I've seen kids. You know, I live close to Kendall and Kendall. I've seen a Miramar by my house. I've seen these kids, and I say, "What's up?" Hey, how you doing? How's everything going? I see a bunch of kids, and I always try to ask them. A couple kids from Lincoln, that reach out and ask me for help. Like, I will help anybody that I can possibly help because it's about making sure that they are in a better state, than I was growing up. And I'm hoping that, the second annual college showcase will go from 4 or 5 teams to 10.
Yeah, listen, Be Great Academy, lights out performance, everyone, especially from people who are from the communities. Shout out to all of those organizations. Coach Legree, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you, fellas.
One more thing before Coach gets off,
of course.
Right? That was different. Dope. They had the linemen outside getting work. They had the linemen outside doing footwork, doing one-on-ones, getting the conditioning right. That was very different, and that was cool to see. So that's something.
Yeah, we're trying to build it, man. We're trying to build it, and by no way, shape, or form, we don't have like this blueprint that's like foolproof. This works, and this like if you're a coach and you have a suggestion, if you got something that you think we could tweak that that will make things better for the kids, then we're all ears. But at the end of the day, like, we're doing this for the kids, and we're gonna continue to do it. And I've already been on the phone with Coach O'Connor. We trying to. Next year is going to be even better.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Coach Legree, it's a pleasure, man.
Appreciate you guys, fellas.
Coach, have a good one. Yes, sir.
Yeah, have a good night, man.
All right, so that's week 7, Eagle versus South Shore. I see a lot of people getting very, very excited in the chat. Yeah, so real quick, that's Chase, I mean, I only meant to remove that one message. Now I'm really realizing that timing out takes away all your messages. That's not what I was trying to do, so my fault. But yeah, like, just easy in the chat, please. So listen, guys, last year we had 7 games. This year we have 8.
Grab my charger.
Yeah, go ahead. This year we have 8 games, and this is one of the biggest games, definitely in Staten Island, but I would even say across New York State, man.
Oh, yeah.
Curtis versus Tottenville to wrap up the game of the week series. And this one is sponsored by Curtis. Wow. So this game, listen, I'll be honest, and Coach Neville was honest about this game. Like, only one team showed up last year in this matchup, and it was Curtis. Tottenville was very flat in this game. But I think that was a good wake-up call for Tottenville. Unfortunately, they couldn't get over the hump in that semifinal game, but beating a tough JFK team, scoring 40 points or 40 points in Sid Luckman. Tottenville was definitely peaking, and it definitely came from this game. It was played for a trophy. It was played at the Ferry Hawk Stadium last year. This year, Ferry Hawk Stadium was very, very nice, but man, I feel like, coming back to the Castle, Curtis versus Tottenville, I really feel like that's a really, really special game. They play for a trophy every single year. We'll see where these two teams are at the end of the year, we could have undefeated versus undefeated. We could have one loss versus undefeated, one loss versus one loss, and we're fighting for the second or third seed in the playoffs. I mean, it's just incredible. It's just incredible. So, Jared, your thoughts on this game, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, such an unbelievable matchup. Like, I feel like this one is always so personal. It's a big rivalry, and football in Staten Island, it just means so much. Like, you see, a lot of, like, I mean, we're talking about Tottenville student section earlier. Like, it just means a ton. And I'm really excited for this game. Last year, Curtis obviously got the better of him, but like Tottenville, they have a huge chip on their shoulder. I mentioned before, they think like this could be the year for obvious reasons. This one's got to be seriously circled, not only for the rivalry, like they know that they weren't themselves the last time they played Curtis. So that's going to be just really, really exciting to see. And yeah, man, the defending champs, Curtis gets to host this game. I bet the whole, like, they're going to try to get the whole school out there.
Whole Staten Island out there.
It's going to be unreal. Yeah, literally. I think all of Staten Island will be out there. It's under the lights. I think the atmosphere is going to be insane. I think the rest of the city is going to be watching on Sage Media if they can't make it. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I can't even. I'm having a hard time like putting this all into words because of how much like this one means.
Yeah, like Jared just stated, the energy is going to be unmatched for sure. And to me, the timing of the game is crucial, being that it's the last game of the season. So, depending on how the regular season goes for both of these teams, that could intensify this game even more. So, it's just gonna be electric out there. I can't wait for this matchup. And a lot of people think that this is going to be the championship game. So, a lot of people feel like it's going to be a Staten Island chip. Obviously, it's a lot of football that has to be played. But, I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, I mean, just when you think about it, Tottenville have to replace a lot of players on that offensive line, but they, take a lot of pride in their offensive line. And, blocking... exactly. Same with Curtis, but blocking Jaleel Parnell, blocking Jared Surratt, like it's going to be a tall order for anyone in this league. And of course, we haven't spoken about him yet, but Will Andrade, he's no stranger to the big stage, So by this point in the season, he'll be real comfortable in his Tottenville colors. So, that's a player I'm really, really excited to see. Yeah. And, in this kind of matchup with, like I said, damn near everything on the line, like what could this game mean? If both teams are undefeated, the game doesn't quote unquote mean as much as far as the playoffs go, because I would assume that both teams being undefeated, that they would, be the 1 and 2 seed regardless on who loses. Like, I don't think they drop to the 3rd seed, but who knows if one team comes in with 1 loss, if one team comes in with 2 losses, this is everything, as far as the playoffs go. And we think about that Tottenville Curtis game last year. If Tottenville is able to win that game, they play E-Hall back at 100 Luton.
Yep.
So this game is, it means so much for the Staten Island community. This game can be the, of course it's week 8, but, I'm just looking at Justin McGuire and Nick Constantino on the screen. This can really be the game where they stamp themselves in all of Staten Island, so it's a huge spot for these teams, and we have a long way to go, but this is a game I'm so happy that we were able to get on our network this year, and I'm pumped for it, man. All right, guys, gave everybody 3 hours. Jared's like, damn. But yes, this is the full game of the week schedule. Now,
the game of the year. Yup, that's true.
Yeah, we definitely got to put that on here. Of course, this is only the game of the week schedule right as the season begins. Just like we did with the 3A and the 2A last year, we will be looking to add a game. That game will be a game of the week, so their fans will get the chance to win that student section scholarship. We're definitely going to be on the lookout for top 3A games and 2A games and 1A, if anything pops up in the game, maybe later in the season, like 2 undefeated teams or something like that. But just looking at this list in its entirety, man,
look at Muncie.
The Muncie Bowl. I'm going to call that the Muncie Bowl.
True story.
If they play this year, we might, depending on where that game is, we might have to look at that game for real.
Monty versus Max Bowden.
But yeah, man, I remember last year looking at, all of these games. I'm like, damn, I hope I pull it off. But we pulled it off last year. So, this year I'm looking at it and just an excitement. I feel like, having this platform and now people really know what to expect. I'm really hoping that the student sections are, really enthusiastic this year and all that. I mean, this is going to be a season, man. So Jared, just looking at it in its totality, what do you think about this list, man?
I mean, it's absolutely loaded. One thing you mentioned earlier, like these are the best games. All out of all 8 weeks, man, I'm looking at must-see TV. It's incredible. And also the big thing, especially for the people that are still here listening, these 8 games are great, and there's still a chance for more to come, definitely. Like what Andre was saying before, there could be some 3A, 2A, potentially 1A. Games get added. That's the beauty of it. But these games of the week right now, man, I mean, I'm juiced, I'm absolutely fired up, and we really need August 30th, and then of course PSAL play to come because I'm ready.
Yo, E, your thoughts looking at this, man?
It's just amazing, and it just reminds me that football is here. That's why I love the reveal show, because that means that football is knocking at our door.
Yes.
And it's like that. That's just the best time of the year, And some of these matchups, I'm going to think about these matchups tomorrow. And just, I can't wait for some of these matchups. But like I said, the best part is the platform that's being provided for people that aren't in the city as well. That's the beauty of the live stream, in my opinion, where let's say your family members are out of state, they can't make the game, they still have access to watch the game. So that's the beauty of the platform, and football is here, man. Can't beat that.
No, absolutely. So just a reminder for some of our announcements. Again, the Sage Standout Student Section Scholarship. Sage Media will be donating $1,000 to the athletic department based on who has the best student section at the Sage Standout Game of the Week. A panel will decide. Listen, is it going to be subjective? Yes, this is completely subjective. Absolutely. No, we are not biased to whoever wins. We're not biased to Eagle. We're not biased to Canarsie. We're not biased to Tottenville. So whoever wins, it's because a panel of judges decided. And trust me, the panel, they're all going to be at the game. One way or the other. They're going to be watching on the live stream. They're going to be on the sideline. They're going to be commentating the game. Yep. So we will feel who is the winner for sure. I'm predicting, whoever the winner of this scholarship is going to be a team that gives everyone the people at the game and at home like a feeling, you know. So that's definitely what I'm expecting. So I'm so excited that we're able to do this for the community. And of course, you know, just a reminder to become a YouTube member. There will be member-only broadcasts. That is watching it live and watching the VOD of the game afterwards. We have custom emojis. Again, I'm going to put some of the emojis in the chat that we have, for example. So definitely a lot of benefits of being a member. So make sure you become a member of the Sage Media YouTube channel. It goes a long way in supporting us and what we're trying to do. And, you know, obviously you can see that all that money isn't just going into Andre Johnson's pockets. We're also putting some of that into the back into the community as well. So again, just like Jared has said, just like E has said, and just like I've stated, you know, you're investing in yourself. You know, it's important that we really build an economy around football and sports in New York, and this is the way to really go about it. My guy Ed in the chat. Yo, huge shout out to Cardinal Hayes, man. You know, we're not gonna go too into the Catholic League. You know, I know Jared's tired, man. We listen, Jared not in college anymore, man. He got a job. He got a job now. It's like you see Jared like,
oh man,
got a job tomorrow.
Don't say that word. Oh, yeah, I know.
So,
it's crazy,
yeah, man,
but
you know,
trust me,
so
I will. Ed, don't worry.
Season, so
I got a lot to say about the Catholic League.
Nah, thanks for everybody who tuned in.
Are you guys on mute? Why can't I hear you?
I hear you. You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. It's probably your headphones, Dre.
Can the chat hear Jared and everybody else, or was that just me?
Monty definitely could hear. Mocking my reaction to the word.
Okay.
Oh man. Monty, I do have one.
Okay, so sorry for the audio issues, but I can't hear anybody. So listen, guys, we're just gonna sign out here. We're gonna call it a live stream. Like I said, 3 hours. That's pretty tremendous, honestly. So we really appreciate everyone. The website is going to be updated later. And we're going to post this full schedule right on Instagram right now. So make sure you guys go run that up. Everybody, really appreciate you. And we'll see you in the football